Hello, everyone. How we doing today? This is Coffee Talking Tech, and we're doing a live stream on YouTube, and we're gonna have a little talk tonight about having fun on YouTube. So we know how much work it takes to start a YouTube channel, and then as you start, you realize that maybe you need a plan, maybe you didn't have a plan. And I want to talk about a few of these things and about how burnout is something that can creep up on you, and about how always trying to keep that freshness about things. So if this is the first time that you're stopping in and you're checking out Coffee Talking Tech in our live stream, my name is John Ryan, and I've been live streaming for about 3.5 months and really enjoy it. And we talk about different things here. So yes, we are a tech channel, but that is not the only thing that we talk about. We talk about a lot of the raw things that involve YouTube, and we talk about a lot of the techniques that we discuss and the applications that are involved with being a YouTuber. And then we talk about some of the emotional things that we talk about and the communities. And but yes, we also talk about the tech and some of the pain points that is involved with having to overcome some of those tech things. So right now, I think we're going to get started in some of the topics that I kind of like jotted down, like some of these things to make things easier. So I want to thank anybody who's stopping in from the start and checking it out. Of course, you know, we got to have my mom. She comes in and she's always here to check things out and support, and I appreciate that. And then we have Mommy Lala over at Mommy Guide, and she's stopping in to check us out. We support each other all the time, and she watches the channel, and I really appreciate that. And then we have Robert over at Spoke Audio, and he's stopping in to say hi. I appreciate that too. So I think everyone here, right, we all have a YouTube channel, and we're all trying to wrap our heads around some of the things that we deal with on an everyday basis. And so some of these things are definitely a little bit cumbersome to handle. And I think I want to talk about some of the things that we deal with and how to make these things like smoothed out. So you don't have this stress and then these, pain points all the time, and you can actually have some fun and joy with being a YouTuber. Because if you're not having fun in what we're doing, then what's the sense in it all? So how do you have fun? How do you set yourself up for success? I'm not making this stuff. These are things that you obviously find in successful people. So let me go check out and see how Jeff is doing and bring him into the stream and welcome him in. If you don't know who Jeff is, Jeff J.A. Smith is his channel, and he streams on his channel on Tuesdays at 9 Eastern. And then he comes and joins me over here and checks me out and hangs with me on this channel on Thursdays at 9 p.m. Eastern. So, check out my description, check out his channel in my description down below, and let's go bring him into the stream and see how he's doing.
Can you even hear me?
Yes, I can hear you, and you sound good.
Good. I had a little power outage, so I apologize for being late.
Oh, no problem. I was ready to go. I'm going to go. I'll do this stream for like 3 hours.
Oh yeah. There's never a worry that you're going to be fine. I wasn't stressing it, but I couldn't get anything out to you. And I'm like, well, I'm just going to work the problem. And it's rare that we have an issue. But you just got to deal with it. We never have power outages here, so I don't know. Maybe it's an alien pack.
My messages, though, I did check my messages. I was like, where he is, and
so I couldn't. You know what? So I don't know if anybody else. I'd Sprint, and they combined with T-Mobile, and I always had a little wonky service anyway with aluminum siding. And once I got my SIM card a couple weeks ago from T-Mobile Sprint because they combined, it's terrible. It's basically turned into a paperweight. I can't text or do anything in my house. It's awful.
You can't use your phone in your house. That's not very conducive.
It's not great because then my power went out. I have no Wi-Fi. I'm like, well, this is perfect storm, but
perfect storm.
Yeah, perfect storm. But I am here and I'm excited, and I did hear what you were saying, and that's cool. I'm excited for tonight.
Yeah, and so. I was on a stream earlier with Sammy Superstar, Sammy Cool, and we did a little stream that he had, and I had some fun with him. We had some good talk, and then my stream was starting, and so we jumped over here, and it's like the usual. I say, we talk about a topic for a bit, and then we have a little Q&A, and we talk about what's going on too. We could talk about anything. We could talk about sailboats, but seriously, I don't know, and I assume that you do know, but I don't know if you watched or saw today about some of the releases that Elgato made.
That Elgato made?
Yes. Yep.
I got notifications on it, but I'm so deep in what I was doing with my editing that I didn't even dip into it. So what's going on?
Well, they just have some new things that are pretty amazing, actually. And I think that you're going to be thinking. So I'm going to bring it up in a little bit, and we'll talk about some of this.
It'll probably get me all excited. I'm like, I got to cancel orders and things.
Yes, you very might well be.
Yeah.
And
that's fair.
So we have an audio interface that came out today. That excites me. And then we also have a camera that came out that's pretty impressive too. And,
is that right? Oh, fantastic. Okay.
So I want to say hi to Vworld. Thanks for stopping in.
Love it.
I think this is the first time that I might have caught you coming in here. If this is your first time, I'm John. That's Jeff, and
nice
we do a live stream on Thursdays and on Tuesdays. And so, if you found us, how did you find us, and where are you watching from? So I would love to know that.
Love the logo, man.
It looks good. And this is my wife. My wife is down the Jersey Shore with my son. So
they left you behind.
They did. And so,
hi, Danielle.
And then so once right out of the bat, Mommy Guide is saying, what's your take on the Elgato face camera? And we're going to talk about that in a little bit once we get done with just a little bit, maybe we'll spend 10, 15 minutes on talking about a little bit about, keeping yourself not just happy with doing your YouTube channel, but there's always goals and achievements to be made with what we're doing, especially when you have a seriousness level with YouTube. And so when that happens, when there's always a goal and achievement, you know, being what you want to, you know, get to, that puts a lot of pressure on things. And does that change the way you look at these types of things? So that's what I want to talk about, because then all of a sudden you remember, I used to be like, so, you know, this or that, and it was energetic and this, and which keeping fresh is really important with anything that you do. I mean, could you imagine like someone like Bob Barker, right? He did The Price is Right for 30
years,
right? Whatever it was.
Yeah, it was a long time, 30 years or something.
And you got to keep fresh, and you got to keep involved with how you know, approach things, and you know, your personality that runs the show. So these are some of these things, but definitely we're going to talk about some of these Elgato topics, which I'm really kind of excited about a couple of these things. So we'll check it out. And hey, here's CJ popping in.
Hey, CJ, how you doing?
Gamer. And so we
looking gorgeous as always.
Yeah. Yep. CJ goes under the bald gamer. And so, you know how he rolls. He makes a lot of bald jokes and stuff. But I personally, I think his head looks good bald. And you know, I don't think anybody knows me. I've been bald forever, so I think they wouldn't know me otherwise.
I would be like thrown if I saw a big old like afro on you or something. I'd be like, what?
No, you know what it is? You know, someday I'll pop up the picture, and you know, when people get to know me more, maybe. But I have really blonde hair. So blonde hair, and so when you see my head of blonde hair, it's going to be like, what? I didn't really believe that, but so. I want to get into a little discussion about a couple of the things that I think will keep this whole YouTube thing kind of fresh, you know, and so this way it doesn't creep up on you, and take a little bit of your happiness away of how you approach things, how things can go smoother for you, especially like for your first year, you know. So, and like this is what makes me excited. This is the type of stuff that makes me, you know, really happy about things. So he's, you know, saying my first live stream is this Sunday, and that's like fantastic. That's what we want to hear. We want to see people coming into their own, which is hanging out here, picking up some knowledge, picking up about how you can run your live stream, how you can interact with people, and then taking it on your own. So CJ, like, this is awesome stuff. And you just better make sure that you put a notification up, let me know what time you're starting, and we're going to do it if, you know, as long as it's not like 3 o'clock in the morning, because I have to get up for work. But if that's the case, you know, I'll watch the live stream and I'll be so excited, but I hope I can make it live. That's for sure. You know, so but that really makes me happy. And then also, this is a new friend that I met this week, is Gary's Trading Journey, and he does some live stream, and he talks about stuff that I absolutely love, which is, I think you know this, I love finance and love talking about crypto.
Oh yeah, you do.
Yeah, and I love you know, some of the basic things that he'll talk about how to take care of your money and things that are, you know, help you grow into your future. So there's a lot of good things on his channel, and he live streams, and I think he really enjoys it because he seems like he loves the interaction. He's a good teacher, and along the way, you know, he's picking up some tips along the way, and I hope they're improving. And it's always okay, no matter where we are at a time. Just know we talk about like a little bit in the beginning with some stuff, and you can just jump in here, put a cue in before your question, so I absolutely see it and don't pass it up by any means. And ask a question. Anything's open as far as YouTubing, tech, streaming, and we don't stray from any of those things. So we love that.
Nice to meet you, Gary. Glad he's in here. Say hi.
And I believe, Gary, let us know where you're from. I believe, I want to say Hong Kong. So I want to say that. So just let us know for sure, because I forget sometimes a lot of things. Because Gary, I'm 50 years old. I forget stuff. So yeah. So make sure, CJ, Yeah, definitely improve my live streaming and moving forward. That's the whole idea, right? And so CJ is asking us what time it is here, so he knows what it is. Remember, CJ, I'm on the East Coast, which is New York City time, and right now it's 9:13. Okay, I made a mistake, and so Gary is coming in from Singapore. There we go. Singapore in the house. Let's drop some. You know what? I got a new surprise for you guys.
Do you have it?
Huh?
You got a new surprise for us?
I might have a new surprise. I have to double check and see if I do. But look
You
at
don't
that.
even know. I'm like, I don't know if I have a surprise.
I don't know what I'm doing half of the time. But
I know. We're just flying.
Gary's coming in from Singapore. We're dropping confetti over the top.
Over the top. Look
Yeah,
at this.
So
this is gorgeous.
I want to thank that, and we can also do it from the bottom up.
Ooh.
So thanks for stopping in, Gary, and we thanks CJ for letting us know what's going on with your gaming. And also we have Mami Lala saying hi to everybody because she's here and she's always given some feedback and letting us know how we're doing and she's doing. But let's start out with a couple little things, okay?
Okay.
Here's the thing that comes to my mind because Jeff, I've explained this to you, and you're on this journey right now. And it's putting a plan together before you start your YouTube channel. So don't wait to start your YouTube channel, especially if you don't have any intentions of becoming monetized or being serious in any way. Then it doesn't really matter so much.
Right.
But if you have these preconceived ideas, how you want to approach these things, you have to put a plan together, and it's got to have some continuity to it, and it's got to have some achievements in there that you want to meet in time frames to be realistic. And so I want to talk about this because if you've started your channel like I did, and it was on a whim because of I was home on Family Leave Act, and I was starting with my son with his YouTube channel. And I said, hey, maybe my little dream that I was thinking back in 2008, I can do with, YouTube. Is that possible? I don't know. But I was
was there like a music montage behind you as you were developing this thought?
You know what the music montage was? It was,
what?
Oh,
that's just your brain laughing at you.
You want to start a YouTube channel?
What? We're going to harmonize a laughter at you.
Right. So I was like, okay, well, let's see how this pans out. And I just started on a whim. I just started recording some stuff. One of the first recordings was just, me comparing a couple mics.
Yep.
It was really raw, really, not anything close to what I do now. Not that everything's so great, but the thing is you can see the improvement, and that's what's so important.
Right. Absolutely.
Yeah. The growth. It's always
growth, the evolution, that's the thing, right? It's a joy that people take. Look, there's no joy. I mean, I don't want to get totally off your subject, but there's no joy in like, there he is. But I mean, for people who love to grow flowers, they don't just plant a flower that's finished. There's actually a joy to planting it, nurturing it, seeing it evolve in different stages. And I know this is probably way too deep for the subject that you were getting into, but I mean, you know what I'm saying? It's good to watch and grow and see how things go. And you don't know because of nature how it'll turn out.
Yeah. And it's like, how to grow your garden. There's a thought process. Yeah. You have to put fertilizer down this time of the year. You have to seed this time of the year. And
you got to plan out your garden. Really, you should be doing it at least by almost February. You should kind of have a good idea of what you're going to do where. We do. Because you have to decide, am I going to do seedlings? Am I going to full seed? Am I going to put more mature plants in there? How am I going to
Right. There are a lot of different things involved with this. And so when I got thrown into it, it was just like all of a sudden, let me just put a video together, learn how to edit. And I was just editing on the software on Windows. And, it was very simple. But here into my, I think it was my third video, And the fourth video, I just did some information stuff where it brought a little knowledge on a topic. And now those things less than a year gone by, they have like, 2,500 views each on my third and fourth video, which is nothing to sneeze at, and especially since the watch time was high, and
Right.
it really contributes to the channel. But I had no care of watch time or thought process or anything. So Gary says, I totally agree with you, John. Really got to take that leap of faith to do it. It's tough at first, and
It is. Yeah.
it is. There's no doubt about it. And I appreciate that, Robert. Yeah, go catch a few minutes on Sammy's live stream. Yeah, we had a little fun. Hopefully, Sammy would stop in. That would be great. But yeah, I mean, that's the thing about jumping in and just going with it. And that's the great thing. I don't really worry about any feedback or negativity. I just go for things. And it's like, I'm the only one that lets myself down, and I'm the only one that doesn't finish the race. And I'm the one that chooses to start the race. And so I don't have a lot of pressure that way, but I put enough pressure on myself, and I wouldn't
expectations
far away from that either. Right.
That's my biggest hang up, because it's not that I don't respect or care what people, especially people like you and others around me. There are some people I really do care what they think, because you do develop that professional or whatever friendship, relationship, and respect. But I don't care. But I do have hangups with my expectations get in the way at times. And so, as Gary was saying, you got to give a leap of faith so much for yourself than it is for anybody else at times. Like, it's just like, I gotta get past myself. I gotta get out of my own way.
Yeah, you just got to say, like, you know what? I'm going to go for it and not worry about it, and then just keep on moving forward instead of looking back. And so that's how I look at things, and I try to do my best. It doesn't always work out perfect, but so what, So my first suggestion about that is put this overall plan together of how you're going to achieve this. Put a little thought into it. Don't run into like developing this channel. Don't run to go and make a name really quick. And you might just want to have like a channel that you just started on the side under, another email, and just practice doing some videos and doing some editing. Just a couple. Don't spend a lot of time, because you need to see that growth and not be.
I really wish I had done that. Well, I just didn't have really a lot of time, but I think that would have been a really neat way to evolve.
In your example, how many people are streaming before they're ever doing a video? So
it's ridiculous.
We talked about this on Tuesday, that there's a great learning growth by just doing this, because sometimes I even, like, when you were talking to me and I could see there were some things that you were really working hard through, I say to myself, I got to give this guy a second, because I'm thinking like he's streaming with me, and how we look and how good we're doing in 3 months. I forget that you just picked up a camera a few months ago.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I appreciate that. Yeah, it's been such a quick, like, rocket of development and awareness, and then you see all the potential around you, and you got to make videos, and then you start to really understand, even on the basic level, all those links in the creative chain. And I'm like, I'm working it, but man, it just seems like there's one more link. And then I finally got to the point where there's really not a lot of links left. And then I shoot the video, and then, we're editing today, and I'm just so happy to be where I am right now. But every time we talk about this, I take it away from you is don't look behind you, just stay ahead, just stay forward. And I think that is the best advice that people can hear is look forward and enjoy your journey. And look forward to it. And I do. But that really is great advice, I think.
Yeah. And so you always say that too, is just make sure you're looking at the journey, and that is important. But my first thing that I'm going to say, after you start that whole, idea of making some sort of plan, involved in that plan should really be the fact of, what's your niche going to be? Have some idea, and don't let people give you ideas of how tight this niche has to be, how broad it has to be. Listen, here's a great fact, right? The name of my channel is Coffee Talking Tech. I just thought of this out of the blue. I don't know how I even really remember how I got there, but it was my thought process of, when you think about coffee talk, coffee talk is like you go meet your friend, you sit down, you're having a cup of coffee, and it may be one of these, it may be one of these coffee talk and tech mugs or something, right? Which
I didn't even get to make my coffee because I didn't have time.
it's possible, but you're having a cup of coffee, you're talking about anything. It could be anything. And so I wanted to leave that open because look at the great things we talk about. We're talking about how not to get stressed or let that happen to you, and being happy and with your growth and where you are, and enjoy the whole journey.
Yeah.
And so we go from there, and don't let someone control exactly that niche. But when you have an idea that you can, and my example, and I know I say this a lot, I was fortunate enough to get on StreamYard and start talking about my channel with Daniel Battelle and Dee Niman. And they said, are you just in case you are, I'm not sure, but if you're trying to reach out to streamers and YouTubers and help them with this tech to be able to explain things, you may want to put that in your banner. And so that's what I did. And I don't think it's really done anything but make a great improvement on the people that I'm reaching and how we address things. So I want to go over here and see if anybody's saying anything. So I think
oh yeah, they're saying
Gary's saying, when I started out, I told myself that we were the only answer to ourselves. Ignore the noise, keep going forward. We will slowly improve eventually, right? Because the only way you're going to improve, Gary, is by doing. Doing is going to be the best improvement. And he's like, you're answering to yourself. Ignore them. These are great things to realize. And you can kind of see it the way he does a live stream. He doesn't care if it's not perfect because it's not going to be perfect. I was in a live stream earlier today. My wireless light went off in a blitz and went bright 100%. And so
did it really?
yeah, it's happened 3 times. It's never happened on a stream, and it did. But it's just going to happen no matter what. And so things will happen. It's all how you perceive things. And so you just calmly grab your remote and just bring it down to the level it's supposed to.
It's amazing what having a sense of humor about all of it, and not taking, it's okay to take what you want to do seriously, but it's not, you don't want to take those little failures, or not failures, but those little obstacles too seriously, because come on, I think it's just it's part of it. And
then we also get Just Jason, who's doing, live streams, and he's in the same boat, which is fantastic, is that his live streams are definitely a good way to get used to being in front of the camera. I mean, right. I mean, what are you going to do? You're going to go sit in your room and just be in front of a camera? You got to do it. Put yourself out there, take the chance. It's gonna be okay. Okay. And the best thing is now, if you're lucky enough to find a group of people that you can trust and that will give you positive reinforcements and be able to also talk to you about maybe things that you can improve on, then my God, you found the gold mine. And it better be coming from people that are actually doing themselves too, so you're out here, I'm putting myself on, in front of everybody to be criticized, be this, be that, or actually get a nice comment on a video, or people come in saying, thank you for this push, or thank you for this encouragement. I mean, these are all things that it's going to happen, and it's worth every dollar to take the chance. I mean, you just got to do it. So
yeah, live streams are definitely a great way not only to get in front of the camera, but if you do it consistently enough, it's just all of it. You're still doing thumbnails, you're still dealing with SEO and tagging and that repetition. So there's just so much to glean from that effort, and it's
you still have to set up the camera, you still have to set up your remake, you have to set up your ISO, you have to position things, you have to check your audio, and all these things are absolutely incredible to know, and it's going to make your growth.
And you have to prepare a lot. Like, you still have to, you don't have to have a script, and you don't even have to have a full-on plan. Of course, we all often come in and go, let's just talk. But there are times when you do want to have a little prep, and maybe not a script, but a thought. And it takes prep.
Even if some people want a script, that's fine too.
Sure.
But sometimes you're going to find out that maybe having a script, and then you try it out, see if it works for you. And then maybe sometimes it's maybe just on the fly, and you have to see what your watchers enjoy. And so you take that feedback,
I think structure is almost more important than in art. In this case, having a structure, if you have a real thing, you know, lay something out that makes sense to people. It just depends on the topic, of course.
Right. So Zam the man is here. What's up, Zam?
Oh, that big old smile.
It's showtime, J&J, not Johnson & Johnson.
Not Johnson & Johnson. That's
No,
funny.
That's like 150.
Well, which one would I be? Would I be Johnson or Johnson in that case?
You'd be the Johnson.
Okay.
In the house. Let's go. And so when he says that, you know, I imagine confetti dropping. So, but Zan's got a great inspirational channel, and I think he can relate to a lot of this stuff that we're talking about. So this is a great topic. So, gentlemen, there are 3 or 4 ways to make your live YouTube fun. I mean, there's several hundred ways probably, but I think we're going to go into some of the pain points that people have right from the start, which is, you know, when I talk about like niching down, which is hard to do, because when people don't want to do that, do you understand, like, do you understand how many people are having like in their channel a lifestyle vlog? Like that is so broad, and that is someone who doesn't know the direction that they want to go, and that is fine. But
they're still going through the steps.
If they're going through the steps and they're making videos and they're doing this
and they're having fun
stuff, going through the, you know, the motions of editing, they're learning.
Yep.
But I'm just saying, if you're serious about things and you're looking to put the plan together, first is the plan of action. Okay. And in that plan has to be a thought process of how you want to approach things. And then if you want to approach them, these are important steps to put so you don't stress out of like later on and just be like,
sometimes setting up yourself for fun. I'm just throwing it out there, and someone could disagree, but you know, sometimes having fun is based on preparation or based on having a plan that you're comfortable with, or a goal, or you know what I'm saying. If you feel overwhelmed by either the process or overwhelmed by the strategy or thinking of other people and what they're doing, and for me, I had less fun when I was worried about what is my niche. Is it people were telling me it's too broad, it's too narrow at the same time, and at some point I just kind of figured something out and went with it. And I think once you kind of just commit to a plan at that moment, you can have more fun because you can kind of get that stress off. Yeah.
So Vworld is saying my problem is consistency. And hey, there's not anybody here that doesn't fight that.
Now the question I would have, because I know this well myself, I try to be consistent. When someone says they're not consistent, the question is, what do you really mean? What in particular you're not being consistent about? And usually that's because something is getting in your way. Either you're not comfortable with part of the process of doing this, or some other little. I'd just be curious, what do you think is getting in the way of the consistency? So consistency is the result, but what is the causation of that? I'd be curious to see if you have a point or two that you think might be getting in your way. Share that.
And so I want to thank also Vworld. Just say he's, you know, at Zan the Man. I'm Fab. I'm just checking out the stream for the first time. I'm really excited about that. This is his first time stopping in here. So please check.
And you call him Wide World, and I just want to. It's worldwide.
Sorry.
Just, you know, he's going to come rain down on us. Right. You start doing this wide world stuff.
Right. I apologize.
I'm kidding. I love the name, by the way. It's cool. I don't know what it means, but I love it.
Yeah, I love it too. And I love that he's stopping in here. And
yeah, thank you so much.
If you are coming in here for the first time, just let it be known that you can go and stop in here and ask questions about different topics or things you're struggling with too. It doesn't stop you from that at all. We're just talking about a topic, and then we'll spend time on this topic, and then we can move on to more tech stuff too.
The one word answer from V is it made me laugh, but
First, I want to say hi to Aaron for stopping in and joining us. Thank you.
Hi, Aaron. How you doing?
And his answer is kids.
Just went with it. Just was led. And you know what? I get that. So I don't have kids, but I have 2 dogs, and they get in the way. So I can't imagine having kids on top of it.
We're like kids, John and Jeff.
We are like kids.
So I understand that.
Don't let him off the hook, V. Don't let him off the hook.
I have a full-time job. I have 1 child, and there's a lot of stuff always going on. And so I also have a little surprise going on, and I want to just invite
Oh
Hey, guys.
my goodness.
How's it going?
I didn't even know this was happening. No one told me. Oh my goodness.
So
Long time listener, first time caller.
Yeah. So I want to thank Brian Paul for stopping in. He works in the film industry, and he's very versed at a lot of different topics. And if you don't know who he is, then it might be your first time here. So because he's always in the comment section adding a lot of positive information. So I want to thank you for coming on.
Thanks for inviting me. I really appreciate it.
No problem.
I didn't approve of this, but you know,
Ah,
no, anybody who's ever stepped in here knows that I have a major respect and affinity for Brian, and he's a big part of my quick evolution in understanding the camera. You know, John is obviously too, but I've had some really good powwows in editing and stuff with Brian, which I think at some point I want to expand on in this type of presentation, but I just wanted to throw it out there. I just have mass respect. I'm glad you're here. It's awesome to see you, man.
yeah,
I appreciate
absolutely.
that. Yeah. Thank you.
So I want to
Nice
say
to see you,
goodbye to
CJ.
CJ. Thanks for stopping in, CJ.
Thank you.
And family time is always important. That's
It
gonna
is
be
important.
part of what we're talking about a little bit too. So,
Yeah.
So thanks for making it. I appreciate that.
I'm glad I could. It was touch and go there for a minute, but I made it, and I'm glad to be here.
I was late, so don't worry about it. My power went out.
Oh, that's fine.
I wanted to be like a diva and just show up like late, like I'm just like so important. I could just roll in here 5 minutes, you know. I'm like Flea from, you know, just coming here with my guitar playing.
That's always the best part about being a long time production person, is that I do tend to just, come in a little bit late. Everything's set up. It's fine. They come in when they need.
Every artist I've ever known has a clock that's 10 minutes behind.
Yeah.
So
for sure.
That's just the way that works.
So this is really cool here. Vworld
Oh.
says, I'm in the film industry a little bit, Brian, here in Albuquerque, more on the acting side. So
Fantastic.
Cool.
That's really cool.
And
definitely want to hear more about that. Let's check out the channel. Everybody jump over there too and support.
It might be collab day. That's what it is, I think, maybe.
It could be. Yeah.
And we're going to do these types of things every now and then. So this just won't be a one-time thing. I like to have some people come in, especially people that give a lot of support to us. I mean,
Brian's been, and Brian, come on, president of Stream Buddies. We know.
President, Stream Buddy.
President.
Yep.
Yeah. And then on top of it all, he'll never say it himself, but how many Emmys have you won?
I just won one this year, and that was my 8th.
Is
that all?
Yeah.
Because I have 0. I have 0.
So, so what's that telling you guys? So, I mean, when he supports us, it's important. So we're always happy to say, and people love it too. So that's great. And we're talking about, have you been listening, Brian, a little bit?
Yeah, I've been lurking. Lurking a little bit. Yeah.
So we're doing like some thought process on really how to keep yourself motivated, happy, enjoying what we're doing with YouTube. And I'm explaining like my road a little bit, which was not having a plan at all and jumping into it, becoming overwhelmed, and then regrouping and restructuring and realizing it's not the worst thing in the world either. Right. So it didn't end because I didn't do a video for 8 weeks, No. The whole process didn't stop. People didn't stop watching my videos that I made already. I've been improving on live streaming. So honestly, I think I broadened out and improved with everything. And I think that taking things from a fresh perspective lets you breathe, So I think I'm breathing. What are you watching over there? Is that from is that like Russian language?
What was that?
I apologize for that.
That was me. I'm like looking around like, what in the world?
I didn't even know that tab. I didn't know that tab was up, and I went to move, and I hit it. So I apologize for that.
That's okay. Yeah. So people are congratulating you, saying thank you.
Well, thank you very much. They're regional Emmys. So I don't know if you know this, but so you have the big ones that are, for daytime and nighttime for TV, and then for the local television networks, you get lumped in with a couple other states, and they carve it up kind of weird. I'm in the Lower Great Lakes district, so that's includes big chunk of the Midwest. And
do you compete in the Milwaukee area?
I think it cuts right below Chicago.
Yeah. By South Bend, probably in that area. Oh, gotcha.
Yeah. So it's always a huge honor to get one, because I mean, like, I can't tell you how many I've submitted and lost, or been nominated and not won. So it's a huge honor. And then I've won it for different things. This last one was for best children/teens program last year.
Okay, that's really great.
That's
does that have a, is that a special type of challenge to deal with? I'm going to say that genre, but I'm just saying, or is it just production's production and filming's filming, and it doesn't really matter?
Well, it's my specialty is in documentary type filming and like magazine style shows. So it's not terribly different. I mean, I worked on a kids science show for like 4 or 5 years as assistant producer or associate producer, and it was a lot of fun. And I've kind of like, I mean, I used to work at the largest children's museum in the Midwest in Indianapolis, and so that's really up my alley. And so and I still work with kids in my full-time job now as well. So
it's great. They just could be unpredictable in the in the setting. That's all.
Oh yeah, no, they're tough on set. Weirdly enough, most of my content deals with adults talking to children instead, and not much with the children actually being on. So I gotcha. I luck out.
Gotcha. it still means a lot though, and he's like almost sounds like you're downplaying it, but trust me, he knows.
I think he's qualifying it, but the truth of it is, those are in your industry, they're pretty important. Yeah. They still call them Emmys, and regional or not, that award is an Emmy, and that's just, people want those on their resume, and you've done very well with it. I'm super impressed. I just think I'm not shocked, but I'm super impressed just because I know you. I'm not.
Well, I appreciate it, and I'm not trying to downplay it, because it is super important, and it's and really cool. But also, I don't want to like walk in here like, you guys not know me? I mean, come on.
No, that's what I did. I walked in 3 minutes late.
Yeah.
Come on, man.
I love it. That's great. Your mom.
That's not your persona.
No.
So.
No, I wouldn't be from the Midwest if that was my persona.
Oh, you're really far out from me, so I get you. I lived in Indiana. I lived in Maryville, Indiana.
We'll see. Yep. It's the people are what they are stereotypes for sure. Like, we say hello and thank you, and we're polite people and want to help you the best we can. And
that's the kind of people that we want here anyway. So that's what we're all about,
Polite works, and everybody that walked in said hi. So I think we got a good Midwest type style crew going on.
You guys to smooth me out, because I need somebody.
We don't have enough like 800 grit paper.
No.
To
so John
smooth.
Is here, and he said, I enjoyed your spot on Sammy's show today, John. Thank you. Thanks for being there and dropping some comments. I appreciate that. We had a good time. Sammy asked a couple good questions. He kind of shocked me with one question really quick, which was, do you think that if it wasn't for what's been going on for the last year or so, would you start your channel? And I didn't even really think of that, but the answer was pretty much no. So that was kind of like, it hit me like, wow.
I'd have to agree that from my standpoint, I would say the same. That there was a lot of COVID really opened up a moment where you could take advantage of the chaos to reshape yourself. And I think a lot of people did. Now, I think a lot of people started to go into it, and then real life came back, and they're like, oh, well, that was great, but I got to get back to my real life. And that's going to be a tough tug on them as they go forward. Can they continue? Because I think if you get into this in COVID, and then you start having external pressures of going back to a job in real life and having to move around, that may be pretty hard as compared to someone who may have started when they had a job, for example, and they already knew the demands of that time for family and the job. So that'll be an interesting thing to see over time.
Yeah.
What happens.
And that's why talking about the things we're talking about right now, where a lot of people had some extra time, and now you're getting thrown back into the real life again, where everything's happening at not like half speed. It's like 1.5 now. And then you're, and right. So
It's true.
like,
For me, you know, just make it simple. I've been a touring musician for 20 years, and you're constantly every few weeks, you're going somewhere.
Yeah.
And then there's practice in between. Your mind's always there, and it's always, you get used to that. That's fine. It's a job, and you like it. Although the travel was starting to wear on me, and then this hit, and our life was shut down like everybody else's. There's no touring, and there's no future. It looks like for the next 10 years. That changed, but we didn't know that. And I thought, what could I do? And I had an interest, and you guys know the story. I got into Twitch. What's that all about? And that kind of segued into all this interest in how they're filming and doing. And here we go. And so it's a very clear thing for me that I wouldn't have gone this deep.
Right.
Had I not.
That's why I feel like everybody can relate to what we're talking about, because now it's like we're getting thrown into the, you know, the wolves, and it's like a big shock. And so, but let's address what Vworld is saying. So are you winning Emmys on your part-time gig? I feel so lazy right now.
See, I thought number 7 was going to be the last, because that was the last where I was doing a lot of freelance work before I got the full-time job about 4 years ago. And you know, freelance is a completely another animal, and it was really weird getting a full-time job. I don't know how many people gig and everything. I know Jay has done that forever, and it's just a different thing. But yeah, so I got a call from my previous big freelance connection at the local PBS station, and they're like, can you just create this can you work with this teacher and create these little this little like series for talking about like social emotional wellness and stuff for kids at home with the COVID times and everything, and kind of help them adjust. And I was like, yeah, no, I can do that. And it turned out really nice. You never know when you're going to get into these projects, what you're working with, but the teacher did a really cool job. She took a lot of my direction. We made some real like crafty, like La style, like like things. And then I animated them and switched them with the After Effects and everything. And
kids love that.
Yeah, it was really cool. I know they're making money off them now. After they won the Emmy, they've started selling spots on it, and I know a couple big businesses have bought into those. So I'm doing my part. So it was worth it.
That's great. Yeah. So now
are you freelance? Are you primarily freelance now then for full time, or
I still freelance a little bit, but I'm mostly full time now.
You're full time, okay?
Yeah. So it's I mean, I freelanced for forever, like a decade. So
okay. You know the drill then.
Yeah.
So now, like I think this relates to what you were just saying, even like socially, and you know how we're adapting and mentally what we've been through this year. So now we're all thrown into the mix, and now it's like, oh, I have work, but then I got these videos I've said I want to do every week, and oh my God, what if I don't live up to my standards? Am I gonna kill my channel? Am I going out of my mind? You know, yeah. So take a deep breath. Listen, nothing's going to explode. Nothing's going to fall apart. Let people know what's going on. That's the best thing you could do. Go reach out to those people and just say, look, this is real life. This is why you came here, but this is what's going through in my life. And why wouldn't they relate to that?
And not to throw out other channels, but what was D Vital? What's his name?
I just saw that video he just did.
And I thought how timely that was, because we had just had that discussion.
I said he in my head.
Yeah. And I thought, oh, John, if he sees this, and he went through a whole thing where he's like, I just hit such a low point. I wanted to quit. And then I thought about, if I walk away, it's going to be the end of times. Because people do tell you that. Again, people keep telling you all this stuff to fear, because fear sells.
And this is a guy with 3.2 million.
Right. And he is having a breakdown about walking away for a couple of weeks. And just to give it a summary point, John is mirroring that very much, where he's like, no. And it's funny because we had the conversation. I think it's good. It's healthy to step back at points to assess, to see how you're doing with your process, but also with your inner tech, and really get a feel. It's healthy to claim your organicness and how you want to go forward. I don't understand this grind until you die kind of thing, but I think it's just a fear, right?
Yeah. Sorry. But
no,
yeah,
it's okay.
it doesn't work. It doesn't work.
It doesn't work.
And so you need to find your passion again. Now for us, it's not a matter of this YouTuber that has 3 million, right? Because we can't relate to his exact pain point, but we can relate to, okay, we went from not working as much as we were into everything just going full force. And now you're going to see, I'm going to tell you, because I've seen it already, you're going to see a bunch of equipment for sale. And I have already that
we predicted that.
Yep. That they thought they were going to be able to do on YouTube and use things. And then you're going to see people just giving up, and you're going to see, I've noticed in the last week, a big influx of people starting to watch more YouTube again, because when everything opened up, it was just all happening, you know, where, and everybody was going outside. They were able to go out to dinner and stuff, you know, for the first time in months. And so now we come to this point where we're standing and everything. You have to realize the rest of the world in some areas like Australia is in lockdown. Like, I don't know if we realize
India,
Indonesia is in a bad situation right now. So the rest of the world is actually, you know, probably consuming a lot of video.
You know, and I think it's beyond, I think you're exactly right. But I also think as people have gone back to their lives, and then we're starting, you're going to have the natural evolution. After about a year, people will make a decision, usually if they're going to move forward or not. So regardless of what happened, we were going to start to see people choose a path. I'm going to stay with this and I'm not. And then, you know, now, like you say, COVID kind of lifted, and people were running wild in the streets, turning over cars. And so that changed. I'm kidding, of course. That changed things. And now people's attention spans start to float, and are like, you know what? It makes this easy. I'm just going to go back and do my thing. And there's nothing wrong with that. Yeah. But it's interesting. I think it's not only, I think consumption of YouTube isn't always only picking up because those places are locked down, as you say, and they are. But I also think people are getting back to their natural, I say, habitat. They are busy at work, busy with the kids. You know what they're going to do? Entertainment. I check out my YouTube or check out internet. So they're going back to some more
normality. Yeah.
Normality. Yeah. And it's like stocks. They level out. There's always ups and downs. And you know, we kind of saw this, like we were predicting stocks in April. We're like, just hang tight. There's going to be some Stream Decks for sale, probably midsummer. Hang tight. Don't get crazy here now. And you've rattled off quite a few to me, and I'm like, it's
you
been.
Can't find one for $100, a 15 button. You know, they're all over the place that I see. So
it's and so and it'll be gone pretty quick because there are people who want them, but. And it's normalizing, you know. What's that term? Haptic adaptation. And, you know, that's a thing where people always.
We don't do big words on the show.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That word. I'm going to hear it twice in a month, Brian. Really?
So it's something that a lot of YouTubers talk about, because especially photographers, where they're chasing gear because they're just not happy with the photography, either the business or where they're doing it, where they're artists. So they're, of course, morbidly upset about everything they do. I'm that same way. And so they use gear and everything, and people did that in life. They're like, well, we're sitting here with COVID, let's find something. But the point of that is everybody comes back to normal at some point.
Right.
And so that's why if you use gear or anything else, or buying a new car to make yourself happy, I think the car purchase is the biggest long-term happy effect you can have. I think it's 3 months. And then you're back to like, I don't care if we get scratched by a car.
I can relate to that.
I need a new car already.
Yeah.
I can relate.
So it's interesting. I love this discussion because it's really
it's true. And Vworld is saying Daniel Battelle is awesome and very helpful always. And absolutely, if you're going to go watch anybody to pick up really important tips, he would be one of them. And Nick and D. Nimmin would be another one. Yeah. But we can name off a million people on
and John Ryan
and different topics. But here, right? I mean, we're I mean, listen, you better come here too. But
you better. You're just threatening people. You better.
Please come watch.
I mean, poor Brian is probably in like a basement somewhere, and John probably, hijacked. He's blink, Brian, if you need help.
But okay, let's not get off topic. I want to stay with some of these things I've
can I just touch on the topic that we were just talking about?
Sure.
Yeah. So I'm kind of plugged into some local arts organizations that do like live performances and music and stuff, and they're really experiencing that back to real life where people aren't signing up for the virtual streams anymore. They're coming in person. They're coming and they're filling every seat. They're like, everyone's just ready to get out of the house. But talking to some really smart people, they echo exactly what you're saying, is that it's swung this way. Now it's swinging this way, and soon it's going to level out and go back to maybe not normal, but it's that new normal that you hear about a lot.
It's the new normal. And I've talked to some musician friends who in New York I was supposed to go play with, and I got some feedback because they just did a bunch of gigs out there, and they're saying the same thing, that people are going nuts. Like, they don't want virtual anything anymore.
No.
They're crowding venues, and they're like, variant be damned. And they said it's absolutely fanatically crazy. It's the worst it's ever been. It's actually good for them. I'm not, when I say it's worse, I mean, it's just very busy. Look, I love virtual, but I also think that we are humans and we love contact. And in the arts, people can talk what they want about, and I've had some discussions with people. That's the future. I'm like, it's a nice tool. But for arts and things, that shared experience in a room where you can feel and talk to other people sharing that moment, I don't know. You can't really mimic that in a virtual world. That's another subject. But anyway,
I think
completely right.
People thought that they can run a business off this. I think they were mistaken. You're riding a trend. So whenever you ride a trend, that only lasts for a certain amount of time, and then trends wear out. But the thing is your business plan built around the fact that it can function on a level where it doesn't have to be everything virtual. And us starting with this live streaming and doing something like this, I think is totally going to work, because this is never going to go away. But if you think you're going to go and be like doing music virtually for other people, that is something that will be harder, because at that point, wouldn't they want to pick up local people that could do that stuff right from their own areas? I mean,
right.
Not that you couldn't, but I'm just saying, I think like what you guys just said is it's not going to be as much as an influx of what we were just dealing with. It has its place. I can give reasons where that really works out. You can remote places that don't have, or maybe for example, there are islands who can't get people in. And I know of people who've done that, those kind of things. I've done some teaching things too from afar, but that's different than live performances. Live performances just lose a luster over this compressed world in this kind of flat screened world. And again, we just don't, this is another subject, we just don't have a lot of shared experiences left. And we as humans need those, and arts are clawing, trying to stay alive in this world to keep that shared experience. And I'm actually emboldened by the response that Brian and I have seen out there, that people are filling those seats out there. They want to get out there and get back at it. The way people and places make money locally is that people have to be out there, right? And so that's more important for our economy overall. Mm-hmm. But you were talking about something that's really important here is when we talk about different areas of the world. Now that we've gone through this for a year, now you can experience cultures from different areas that no one thought we could. And we've learned so much to be able to share these things, that there's definitely a niche for these things too. What happened was now everybody's got a 920C and everybody understands how to get on StreamYard or Zoom. So, what COVID did, a Logitech camera, tell them what a 920C. They're thinking it's like a Porsche. They bought a Porsche. Everybody's driving around in the 920 Porsche in the Philippines. Put the premium in it. Yeah, so they're buying a lot. They're buying a camera for their. Well, I guess my point is everybody is kind of picked up into kind of a different universal threshold of understanding of tech. So now when someone says get on Zoom, look, 18 months ago, you told people to get on Zoom. They're like, I don't even know what you're talking about.
Now now my grandma's like, just get on Zoom. We're gonna have a reunion, and I'm like, oh god.
Yeah,
Thanks, Grandma. Thanks.
He's right. He's absolutely right. I mean, before this all happened, I had never been on Zoom. Never. So
yeah, now you're as a vMix, StreamYard.
Now we're using
freak
everything.
OBS nonsense.
So so V Worldwide is saying, so what do you guys think as a tech channel that I can talk about all things tech and survive? I hate having to niche down. Here's the thing that I don't know if you've seen my channel or not, but one important thing that I did was change my logo to draw in so it explains right then and there kind of like what I'm talking about. And then I added in my banner, I'm addressing out to new YouTubers and new streamers. So when people go to my banner, they know right then and there what they're kind of thinking they're going to see. And so now if you're a new YouTuber, a new streamer, there's related topics and things that are very usable for you to excel at these things. And so that is the niche down. So like I said, when I said Coffee Talk and Tech, now V Wide World, I wouldn't know off the bat if you were a tech channel right away, if I just saw the name. So that might confuse you. But if your banner is attached and I can fully understand what you're getting out of that banner, then that would clear up things really fast. So I think that can you do it? Absolutely. And I think it's going to be up to you about not pigeonholing yourself. And so when we talk about these topics, who would have thought that a tech channel, it would be talking about how to keep yourself from not struggling and keeping your happiness about a YouTube channel?
You know, and if it makes you feel any better, I mean, my channel was changed from Drum Up Studio to, and if you say that, people wouldn't really know either. So I ended up going with just my name. And how does that convey anything? So I do understand that fear of putting a title out there that's not like John's really hits a target. And I can appreciate it. And I think that is a benefit. There's definitely a benefit to that over me just using my name. I'm going to have to fight harder to really get that message out. And I'm aware of that. And but I'm okay with it too.
Yeah,
so
but on the flip side, listen, you don't think we've had this discussion where I thought like maybe I should put my name on the channel because then I get,
you were close.
Yeah, about that thought process. But I was just like, no, but here's the thing. I'm not saying to change your name in your channel.
Oh, no, I wasn't assuming.
No, not you. I'm talking about V. But I say, look at these overall things. And I don't know, I'd have to go and see his channel and where he is in the progression.
Yeah.
But also don't be afraid to make a change.
If I can just say, if I can just put in that the answer is yes, you can survive. I'm just going to make it easy as possible. Yes. So the threshold starting here is yes. Now, other factors could make it a no, but you're starting at a yes. Right. And then if you make some relatively good decisions and efforts, which would be content, and then of course doing some decent things with like your titles, SEO, getting discovered. John's talking about, he's right, making sure your banner represents what you're doing. Like there are things you could do, but if you don't do those, it could end up being a no. I just think the starting point is yes, because I've seen like Podcastage and all these other guys and channels that are very drilled down and they do very well. So you can definitely do very well. The question is, are you doing enough to get to the yes?
I think speaking from a viewer, not a content creator, because my most viewed video is a cell phone shot I took of orangutan babies in like 4 years ago. Hence my I'm staying relevant on content with my little guy there. But
I love it.
I watch people. I don't watch content. The content is what gets me there in the first place.
Yeah.
But if I like you, I'm going to watch. And it is YouTube. So I think putting yourself out there is the most important part. And I, like I said, I could be in the minority. Like I wouldn't know what to click a Jay Smith, but once I watched a couple and I got to know him, I'm going to watch him. You know, I'm a couple Coffee Talks and Tech. I knew what I was going in, but it what keeps me here is like the personality and the camaraderie and the community. And that's, I think that all that stuff that we talk about is important, all the content and making great videos, but it's it's your connection with people.
Oh,
that's going to make the biggest change. And then also you want to make sure you put batteries in your cameras.
See, what he did was, you see what he did? He purposely put a battery in that was about 50%, because as an Emmy winner award, he's going to show you in real time what not to do.
Hi, Ash. Thanks for stopping in.
Do you not have a dummy battery for your cameras?
I don't have a dummy battery.
No, I mean, there's two dummies up here.
Dummy right now.
Hi, Ash. How you doing? You know, I just want to say I missed Ash's live last night because I was trying to recover.
Yeah, I told you
footage on my Da Vinci.
That was good. She put that together good. She had a good time with it.
I'll check it out, of course. But I just wanted to let everybody know that. I'm a big fan of that. We had talked about Canva a while ago, and I love that subject because everybody just thinks there's one thing, and I'm sure she got into all this and the pros and cons, and I have to check that out.
So Vworld. Nope. Worldwide. I see I'm talking like Marcus Brownlee, whatever style. I see, I guess I know he talks all tech. You know, I was thinking about this today. Okay, I get your feel. I get what you're saying, but I was thinking about this today. And it's not particularly him I'm saying this about, but if this is partially him, is that if you look at some of these huge channels, you'll find out like they've changed. They've made changes. And
oh my goodness.
Big. Like this guy and other people, they were doing phone stuff for like years.
Do other people do this? I guess I love to go back at their oldest videos and just start jumping around and seeing what's going on back here. It's healthy to do because what you will find is that what you're talking about is that everybody started from somewhere.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think it's good to realize that not everybody just popped out of the YouTube, birthing chamber and had massively amazing setups and content all figured out. It's tough to see all that and then go, well, that's what I want. And then you're trying to live up to that. It's brutal.
Right. Right. I'm sorry. But yeah.
No, it's okay.
It's like, that's what I want people to realize. That like they made changes where they were just strictly on phone topics and getting a lot of feedback and people subscribing. And that's why I never feel inferior, because I don't think that anyone is so good with everything that it leaves out what I can tell you is I think I know more about PC building, and computers than a lot of people. So I have a niche that maybe I'm a little bit more excelling at, but if you go to other people, there's going to be other things that are, where they.
So V would, whatever V really leans into, like you say, everybody has their strength, their one thing that they probably could just excel at. I've got a couple things that I could really, but we always find out if we really are open and analyzing that when we're starting the channel, we can find quickly, that is our niche, but we know enough a little bit around it, that orbit, to talk about other things. And I think that's fun to stay in there for a minute and try to nibble away at those things as you grow
and be different. You don't have to be the same. And we're going to talk about one thing here, which is, which I have written down right here, which is try different things so you don't get stale. Like, don't be afraid to try these things. Don't be afraid about the feedback. If they mean something to you, then you need to try them. Trust your gut and your feelings about how you feel about something. Test it. See how it works. See if it makes a different reaction. See if it takes you in a new direction. So I want people to be able to do that because that makes you happy, right? Because if you have a thought process of, I wonder if this will work or that will work, and then it works, and you trusted yourself, it puts a smile on your face. It lets you know that you can trust what you're feeling about yourself. Yeah. And so these are important things. So he's saying you are correct. I forgot about that with him. You're right. And so
it's easy to do that.
I know what's going on, and it's important that you take a look at those things about all kinds of different topics. But just realize that not everybody knows everything, and that will make you feel so much better. So, and you roll with that. And then sometimes to help a lot of people, all you need to know is a little bit more than everybody who's starting. And then you can really help a lot of people. So John Pullum is asking, have you done a video on building a good PC for streaming? I did one video on building a PC, and I was happy with the amount of hours I got. I didn't get a ton of views. I got like 1,100, 1,200 views on it, but I got a good amount of hours watched, because I think when you kind of find a spot where it can help you, people go back to watch all the time with building a PC. And so if it's dropping in the CPU or setting it up or placing the motherboard in, sometimes people want to see that whole progression. And but it's hard work. And when I was doing it, I was stressed out because I didn't know anything about camera angles. Setting, I had no lighting. I was working with just the stuff I started with, and it was really hard. But I actually love it. It was fun to look back on and say, that I did it. So I
bet you learned a couple things when you were done.
Oh God, did I learn about okay, this is an easier way to show this. And I'm sitting here putting a lavalier mic on for the first time and trying to make the audio decent. But you know what? It's great to look back on those things and say, you know what? I didn't do a half bad job here. And I was getting feedback with people saying that I helped them. So
it also is a great mirror into the progress you've made. I think it's very easy to lose sight of so much progress that you've made because you're in it all the time, or you're just so focused ahead. I think sometimes it's okay to look back on yourself and go, oh, wow, look at the growth I did here.
Right. Yeah. Right. I always want to make sure I remember that, because it is important. To realize and pat yourself on the back and give you some credit.
You want to look back in a healthy way. And that just is perspective, but I think allow yourself to look back and chuckle with yourself and go, wow, look at that little kid. Look at that little Jeffrey. Look what he's doing over there. And just have fun with that and go, oh, look at him. He got better with lighting after a couple of videos.
Yes.
Look at that weirdo that's can't seem to keep his camera on. What's his deal?
Well, by the way.
I'm back.
We're gonna get him a dummy battery, so he's never going to have this problem again.
Get a battery dummy. Get a dummy battery.
Actually, it wasn't the battery. I still have 75%. My cat disconnected my capture card.
Yeah,
that's your cat has caused a lot of problems.
Yep.
Over time, I've
noticed.
Like,
what should I say? My fish, my cat. No, this would be more realistic. My cat.
Yeah. I would never let my battery go bad. I have an Emmy.
Gary's asking a question. He says, hey guys, if we dabble on a slightly different topic from our channel, is it going to be way better than our current? Let me see, from our channel, and it is doing way better than our current video. Do we change our niche or stick with the plan?
Great question, by the way.
It's a good question, but it's very broad and it's hard to understand exactly, because it would definitely matter on exactly what it is.
Well, and also, is it one video or a string of, you need to look for a trend. So in order to really analyze anything, you're going to need more than one video to know. Now, that's great that one video hooked, but we don't know if it's just because of a title or it was a hot particular topic. Yeah. Just luck on discovery. It's great, but one video result is not a trend. Right. And so I guess that, do you have other videos in that same vibe that are also trending in a direction that interests? Now, let's just take, for example, two potentials here. It's one video and it's doing better than their current content. And then the flip side would be, it's maybe a few videos and there's a trend. So I guess, how would you answer to the first scenario where it's just one video and
what I would say is, if you go and put a keyword into something that is very trendy at this time, say it's like the Loki TV show, and you put something that connects to that in a channel that makes absolutely no sense putting that up, you can get a lot of views still. And especially if you don't have a ton of stuff on your channel, because the algorithm isn't fully suited for that particular stuff you've been putting out. But you'll get people to watch it, but it's really going to be really confusing to people of why you would do that. So the thing that I would ask myself is, should I be making another channel about these topics? Because you don't, especially if you're starting out, you want to keep people focused on what is at hand right here. And if you keep on putting a mixture of different things on the same channel, I mean, there's no one that's going to tell you that's a great thing to do. Nobody.
Well, and I'm just rereading. He's saying if we dabble on a slightly different topic. So he's saying that the topic, and I don't know if this is something he's just wondering about or if it's actually happening.
Right.
A topic, if in that I see it as something's happening where you're talking about another topic and you're dabbling and you're seeing traction. Well, that's a different subject, but I think the answer is still the same. John's right. You'd want to then investigate maybe a different channel if it's that vastly. My other question to you, Gary, and please answer any of these you want, but is that topic something you're passionate about? Is it something you really want to dig into, or is it, what's your energy here? Do you want to dig into it because it's also something you really enjoy, or is it something that happened, you dabble into it because you don't obviously want to go double down on something that you're really not passionate about, even though it's probably got a little traction. So I guess that would be an answer or a question I would have.
Right. And I think that's pretty much exactly what I would say. And you really have to be careful about putting stuff that doesn't relate, because then people see that you're not focused on what you're trying to do, and it's a little bit confusing. And I mean,
in the trading world, that's pretty specific. And so I think that's a type of crowd that I wouldn't want to bring in and then go, oh, I have a sock puppet show playlist over here.
I'd love to see the sock puppet show.
I would totally subscribe to it. I'm not saying that. Okay. Well, you're right. Me, Brian, and we all would. But I think that would be a problem especially for that. If it was, you're doing mic stuff and you're like, oh, this interface thing's taken off, or this camera thing. Well, we could have a different subject, but I guess it has a lot of questions that would probably need to be answered.
Like if you're talking about your trading stuff and then you added like the best, scooper for a dog, pooper scooper. It just doesn't relate. If there's some kind of relatability, then you have to explain that and then
shining light into John's brain, right?
But if it's not really close, I wouldn't be doing that.
But I want to just say, I super into the idea of a sock puppet show that's doing trading information.
Right. Okay.
Bye. In Bitcoin too.
Bye. I don't know what I'm doing.
He's asking worldwide, what are you guys using for thumbnails? I keep hearing about a Place It. And is it any good? I think that Place It's decent, and I think there's multiple things out there, but Place It's one of them that's usable. But also, I think just about everybody here uses Canva, if I'm not mistaken. I think most people would use it.
I love Canva. I use Photoshop for my thumbnails. I set up a template. Right. Canva's great though. I would say if you're not, I choose to do it because I'm used to it and I actually enjoy it. But man, for most people, why bother? Just use Canva. I think it's a great platform for that.
Yeah, especially it's simple and you can use the free version and it's very good. And then if you want to, you can pay for it yearly at that point. Or if you have someone in your family that's a teacher, you can also have ways to get a discount. So
exactly. But, marry a teacher, by the way, that helps.
So right. But he says, thanks for the advice, fellas. I really appreciate it. Thank you. I wish I'm going to go take a look at that video and see what it is exactly on your.
We'll take a look and hopefully you'll stop back in and we can talk about it more.
Maybe we'll talk about it again. Yeah. And here's the other thing too, guys. If you're here for the first time and you've only just stopped in and you're dropping comments here in the chat, after the video, go and put a comment down below so everybody can find each other if you want to check each other's channels out. Because when we're smaller YouTube channels, sometimes it's a little bit hard to find just on the name alone. So get that. Okay, guys.
Yeah, put that down there. We're here to support everybody and we'll jump on and check you out and sub and just have a good time. That's what this is about. So
right. And he is back in the house.
I love this
I was on the
personal information.
So who's the boss? Jesus?
Mine's upstairs. So I don't know. Well, so is Jesus. So there you go. That's hilarious.
Wow. So, Brian, what's your cat's name? People want to know. Brian's new to streaming
And you can tell because his sound's not working.
because he has no sound.
Can you
Batteries in your mic now too.
If here he goes. Let's watch as the monkey tries to unzip the pouch. I have no idea. Yeah, exactly. I have no idea what's going on with his mic there. Well, you will give him a second.
So
I'm going to name his cat for him. It's going to be called Fluffy. There, we got it. Got a name.
Ash is saying more for the, for all the input from people here. She says more than happy for giving the input. I did do niche focus, but then I told myself my community early on, I wasn't feeling it. So now I post what I want. And I don't know if that would work for everybody. And I think that the main thing that you would want to do is look at the results. And so if you're honest with yourself and you look at the results and you're happy with those results, then you got your answer. And if you're not happy with those results, then you got your answer. So I think
the beautiful thing about YouTube is depending on what you want to do, the answers can be found kind of there. So that the information can start pretty quickly to give you a little bit of an idea what's happening and maybe what changes to make. Right. Or if you just there are people and sometimes they do very well where they're like Ash would be like, you know what, I'm just going to do what I want. And that could take traction, but I'm more about doing what I want and letting the chips fall. Okay.
Yeah, but you also have to realize, right? Ash, myself, everyone, we're very new still. So you have to be careful about niching down too fast and don't always trust what people tell you all the time. You have to have some common sense in your own head too, which is at this point, if I'm so new and I'm not really positive, why am I going to do that to myself? And so at that point, I would, I would listen to the results. Like, here's the thing. You have to go into your analytics. You're going to see your views. You're going to see your watch time. And it's going to tell you, because to be honest with you, YouTube's brutally honest. And
it has no emotion for you.
Yeah. And so that will be it. And you'll know right off the bat whether it's working. Thanks, boss. Logging in BH expending.
Oh, I love BH spending. Oh.
So he's getting something and his company's paying for it, it looks like.
Really?
What are you getting? And so I agree, John. Just because I did it doesn't mean, right, it's not for everyone. But she's saying that I think she's saying like pretty much the same thing, which is don't let someone make the decision for you. And, which, listen, if they're smarter than you, you have to take that too with the results that this person has done for other people. And but I would say that sometimes you have to come in and you have to trust yourself and your gut to what you're doing, because the person that is very creative and it thinks outside the box, a lot of people will never say that they think that's a great idea all the time. Like, for instance, I remember in 1998 going to my grandfather and asking him about Amazon stock. And he was like, well, this PE ratio is ridiculous. And there's no, money being made in this company. And now it's the biggest company in the world. Okay. I remember, spending money on stocks that I bought that people said it's ridiculous and it excels and does well. So you have to be careful, because sometimes when everyone says run the other way and you're the person that takes a look at things, it could change your life too.
I'm glad I never bought in the 70s Apple stock. That was a good decision on my part, I thought.
You said?
I was like 8 years old, but I'm just saying, you're right. I mean, and I think what people need to realize, and I think you're trying to say too, is that, come on, man, YouTube, the equation is not the same for everybody. That is not a direct line of choices for everybody. There, different content gets different types of viewers, and different viewers do react. Like, for example, gaming viewers and subscribers are going to have a different manhandle or handling than I don't know, that Mama Lala that will have, for example.
Right.
So not everything's going to be handled the same or dissected the same. But I think John is right on when he says, hey, YouTube's not going to lie to you, regardless of what you're doing. It's going to tell you what's happening.
Right.
And
Whether
so,
you listen to that is another thing.
yeah, whether you listen to it or not is another thing. So listening to too many people's advice can be very dangerous if you're just listening to emotional based advice or bias advice, and you're not talking about the nuance of what's happening. I think that could be problematic.
All I could tell you is in my life of 50 years, about the percentage of about 85 to 90% of people's advice has been worthless. Just keep that in mind. So if you decide mine's worthless, it's good for you, but
it's about as worthwhile as these guys at the NFL draft telling you all their picks are going to be, top 20, and then they get 3 right, maybe, and no one ever holds them accountable. They just give you bad information. Baseball players are batting 240 and making $10 million a year. They're hitting the ball twice out every 10. So, I mean, let's just, I don't know, that was a weird analogy, but
but all I'm saying
reaching.
is that, a lot of times if you leave your self out for important things in your life for other people to make those choices for you, I don't know how you can expect you to get to the where you want to go. You have to trust yourself. You have to take in a certain amount of knowledge, and you have to make big decisions and put your big boy pants on to make things happen. And so if you let other people run your lives, then you might not ever get what you want. But
and just to clarify, there's a difference between asking questions and just saying, what do you think I should do? Right. So you're not implying that don't ask a lot of questions, don't talk to people that are doing it and ask what they think and take that information in. But to John's point,
Jeff always clears up where I'm going. So I said, if you haven't noticed, Jeff always clears up my bluntness with where I'm going. And
did I step on you? I'm sorry, man.
No, you didn't step on me, but it's a good, you're right. You're 100% right. And so what I'm saying though, is that take the information in, don't take it for granted. Make sure you go through it with a fine-tooth comb.
Right. And make your own decision, analyze it, ask the questions, gather, as we always say, and don't let somebody else. I mean, I've been guilty of that in the past. And even in this, where I was at the beginning going, I don't know what's going on. I started listening to too many people, but you keep asking and keep like, these are great questions. And then you start kind of just listening to your own head about your intuition. You'll figure it out, and you got to make your own decision though. And that won't be easy. And sometimes as I think, was it Gary who said, you got to have faith in yourself and just take that leap. And that's so true. By the way, what's the cat's name? Just so we can get that out of the way. Cause
can you guys hear me now? Like,
we can. It's been a real exciting night for you.
Oh my gosh. The cat's name's Whisper, and I'm going to.
It's kind of like it should be the name of your mic now.
Yeah. Oh, you can't hear me now?
No,
we can hear you.
It's not as good as the mic you have.
Can we ask what happened?
Well, this time the power did die on one of my wireless Go's. I didn't have it plugged in, and so
what I don't understand is you have probably, as an Emmy winner, you probably have at least 3 to 4 assistants sitting around that office. Can that one of them plug in your batteries for you?
I asked the cat to, but it didn't work out.
A cat will never listen to you, so stop.
No.
Hey, this is streaming, and this is what people should realize, that if you don't check everything over with a fine-tooth comb. So when you make your switches on here, and is my battery on? Is my camera on? Is my lighting done? Is my battery timed out from when I used it to, my camera going to time out from when I used and shot pictures with? There's so many things to check.
Oh yeah, no, and this is how live TV is all the time too.
Oh yeah,
it's just things happen, and it was when you get that 1 or 2 things going happen, that you're probably going to be okay the rest of the time. So
yes.
I wouldn't say that this time something's going to happen. My cat's back over to my capture card, so I'm a little worried, but we'll see.
It's okay. We can always bring you back. That's the great thing. But V is saying, I'm having trouble with my channel. I get great views, but my subs have been very slow. Maybe the verbal call to action I do always, however, always flash the graphic call to action.
Well, this is going to be one of those things where some people really are on both sides of the fence on this call to action thing.
Well, I think you got to make a call to action at times, but here's what I'm going to tell you. And I don't know your channel yet, and I hope that I will be able to check this out afterwards and see where you are with this journey, you know. And my feeling is, in the beginning, you should be doing very little call to actions. You should be putting stuff out there, and then if people like the stuff you're putting out there, they're going to look for you again, or maybe they find you again, or maybe they'll be like, you know, me personally have subscribed to people because they haven't over pushed themselves. And I'm like, I appreciate that. I think that if you're new and you're like, you start out your video, listen, if you're just getting here, don't forget to like and hit and sub. I don't want to hear that crap. I don't even know who you are. And no one knows who I am. And when I tried to do these intros, I took a look and I tried to explain this in a live, that every time it was there, people skipped it over. So, you know,
and what we're seeing more and more, and people are talking about it, I think, and John is so right about, you know, are people being pushy too early? And there's a intersection between credibility and how pushy you can be. And then that starts to go in diminishing returns as well. Right. I think though, when you're new, if you ask for the like, there's a threshold of the like is so different than the commitment of the subscribe that people are finding that people are happy to do the like. It's not a big deal. I can do that. I'm not going to have, there's no fallout. It's like a relationship where there's really no commitment. But I think at the very least, there's nothing wrong with asking for the like, but I think I have to agree. I think pushing too hard for subs early on.
Yeah, people just don't even know who you are.
And even people that have quite a few people are like, you know what? I don't ask for subs as much as I used to. I go for the likes. I go for the likes. If they want to sub, they'll sub. The like is a lightweight ask and get, and there's less friction for that. And so there's a trend towards that. And I like that trend.
Yeah.
Personally.
And I like the other thing, whereas I start my video out.
Please like and subscribe.
I would like to subscribe. I have no subscribes in the last 24 hours.
I haven't done this, so just make sure you go and like.
He leaves it up for the rest of the night.
And hey guys, I'm at 99. So if you guys want to push me over 100, come on over. You can check out the orangutan and John Shirt video. You know,
can your cat not do a sub for you and take?
If you hit 100, we're gonna have to throw confetti. If you hit 100.
Keep an eye. If you hit 100, let us know so we can confetti you.
Hit the confetti.
Yeah.
So the thing that I want to do is I want to say this, that when you start your video, it's a good idea to not ask those questions and to start off with giving the info as quick as possible, because they clicked on that title to get that information. And so they don't want to tell, like the same thing when you start a stream. I think you're crazy. And I see it all the time. People talk about themselves for 5 minutes. Are you insane? No one wants to know all the places they can go and reach you because they're here on YouTube.
It looks like a NASCAR, I
don't get it.
Outfit with all the ads on it.
So I think at this point, give them the information as quick as possible. When you drop a knowledge bomb on them, after you do that in the middle of your video or wherever it may be, that's when you drop it and you say, hey, do you think this is awesome? Does that work for you? Say, if this has helped you out in any way, please like and subscribe. I'm a small channel. I say that. You can figure something else out, whatever that is going to fit you. But the thing is, drop the nugget first and then ask for it, because what are you giving them before you even start your video? You're asking for
that
something.
Right away stuff too. Yeah, you're right. It's like, I'm just pumped up the video and I've got, hey, if you're here, hit the like and subscribe, blah, blah. I'm like, oh my gosh, please don't do that to me.
I don't like intros. Like when you click on a video and it's like how to remove your cat from your capture card, and he pops up here and they're like, what's up guys, I'm catremover.com, and then here's my intro, and it's like beep, 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 beep,
and here's an ad from Fluffy's and then by the time you get where you're going, the HDMI card is now in the litter box. Exactly. And so it doesn't help anybody.
So they don't realize what they're doing. And if they looked at their analytics and see it, just everyone's skipping over that. And then at one point, when you have a bunch of people watching and they get what you're about and they appreciate you. You know what they do when they appreciate you? When you really appreciate a YouTuber, you watch the commercials because that's how they get paid.
You're right.
You buy their shirt.
Do you guys realize that? Like,
or the coffee cups.
Yeah,
yeah,
coffee cup.
you support whatever it may be. You buy their coffee cups, thank you. You buy their shirts, thank you. And the thing is, but you're doing things because you want to, because they give you a lot of information.
The only thing I'm going to say to you though about that is, if I see that another Janet and Jim B&H with that commercial,
oh, I hate that thing.
That thing runs.
Stop.
I mean, it is like Chinese water torture. So as much as I love you, John, I don't know if I can sit through that for you, but I'll try.
Well, I'm just saying in general, but
I know.
Ash is saying my call to action is just a sub, like N Bell animated graphic. I play it and add sound effects.
I've seen it.
Yeah, and that's fun.
I like that. That's another trending thing that I enjoy. Is just, if you're going to put up there, just put it up there quick, ding it, and move on. I think it's really elegant.
Yeah, because you're not stopping in your whole video explaining what you're doing. And I like that too. She just lets that, it's like a little reminder, boom. And if people like what they're seeing, they're gonna use it, right? So
we talk about it, and something that I'm really trying to stay on as I do my own stuff now is how to honor the time of the person who's watching you. And you stopping everything that they need an answer for to say, hit a subscribe. It seems small. But if it's so small, then stop doing jump cuts, because there's only a nanosecond, but you're still doing it to honor their time. Some people are doing for effect. I get that. So I don't know. I think that's another thing. It's like, it just takes
John Pullum says, I started asking for and ask them a question to comment on. That's a good thought too.
I think it's a great thing anyway. Get the comment out there, get the engagement going.
Yep. I haven't asked for subs verbally in the last couple of videos. Likes and comments show YouTube people are absolutely right, John. I agree with you.
Yeah.
And I'm going to tell you honestly, what I think. I think that when I've watched your older videos, you do ask a lot of people sometimes. And I think that sometimes it's too much. And I think whatever you looked and analyzed and checked out, by you putting this statement up is just showing growth. Like you somehow found out what isn't like, I don't know, you looked at something different and you definitely made a change, and there's a reason for that. And when you go and look at this stuff and people do the hard work of saying, well, whatever I'm doing isn't working, but I'm going to try this, that just shows me that you're open to try new things. And I think that is absolutely great. So I commend you.
We are going to have to adapt, because all these things will change. how people this and that utilize things, or they don't wait.
Yeah, but he's coming here and he's saying it, and I appreciate that, because that is definitely showing that you're trying to make things happen by looking at what is going on with your videos.
Absolutely.
So John says, yes, I don't start with the ask, get into the content. Yep. It's like waitress asking you how the meal went. Right. Absolutely, John. Absolutely.
Does that happen to people? Because I have it happen to me. Before I take the first bite, the waitress has always already asked me, how was it? I'm
I know.
I don't know. I'll tell you in a minute.
Yeah, it happens. That's annoying. I love her. And then you won't see her the rest of the night when you need something.
Yeah.
John, I know you're trying to be funny, but really, I think it's commendable that anyone could look at themselves, because it's hard to do and say, how can I do this better? What can I do to improve? What I'm doing is not working 100%. So I honestly think it's a big deal. So I appreciate you sharing that. Okay. So let me see if there's anything important here. What I want to say is, I wrote this down and I said, happiness demands an outcome. And I don't even remember what I wrote. Oh, the demands an outcome. And I put like, as far as achievements and goals, because what I'm trying to say is how we look at things to keep yourself happy. We put these goals in order and these achievements, and then we think we have to hit these things. And all of a sudden I'm happy because I did this and I did that. And then when you don't hit those goals or achievements, then how are you reacting to when you don't? And so the fact of the matter is, goals and achievements are commendable, but also part of the separation of being happy about where you are with YouTube is also the joy of doing it. And so if you're not hitting those numbers and it's taking the joy away, stop fixating on the numbers and just look at your work. And again, we're going to go back to the work, because it's always the work is what is the whole component in the breakdown of it into how you become successful, and try to find those areas where you can improve in. What does anybody else have to put in with that? Any ideas?
Brian?
So, I mean, definitely it's not the as many subscribers as you have, or the or if people are there, it's the journey. It's the creating the videos. My good friend at GG Media Works started his channel last year, and we both talked about it forever about starting our channels. And he actually did it, and he did it because he said he wanted to lay something down that like lived beyond him. So he considered it almost like writing his biography, or
like a legacy, or
like
something.
creating like a legacy, and just doing the work that he wants to do, and laying down that creative path. And I'm not quite on that same path as much as I am. I just really like, I have this creative itch like deep inside my chest that I don't get to scratch very often. And it's all about that for me. It's not how many subscribers I have, how many people that look at it. It's actually just like being able to get that out. And I feel like for
I love that.
you guys,
I love that answer. Just make sure people hear that. Like, he's focusing on the creativeness and his joy of creating. In turn, that makes him happy, and his passion goes up, and therefore your content is probably going to be impressive. Keep that in mind.
I think, you know, we all know how much I feel about that. I agree. The joy of the journey. And what happens is you start focusing on the numbers, especially early on, you pretty much have lost the battle, because that is not going to fill you with much joy. And quite honestly, it may never. You may go, oh, I hit 100, and you know how long that joy is going to last? About as much time as you pull up YouTube Studio and start looking to see how many for 200.
Right.
And so it reminds me, we talk about whether you're an artist, a photographer, musicians, and that advice of you've got to stop worrying about the traditional milestones of success that we've laid out, which would be fame and money. And YouTube would be subscribers and monetization. If you go in just for that, you're in trouble. You've got to have something else to hold on to get through the hard times, because those numbers are not going to help you. That path of how you're choosing to decide when you're happy or not is not going to hold on to that. So I am a person who thinks you got to have milestones, and so does John. I'm sure Brian. You want to have outcomes. You want to have success. Don't get me wrong, but I think it's about where your focus is and your joy on that on daily.
And that's why I go back to saying, like, happiness demands an outcome as far as your goals and your achievements, right? Because that's what makes you happy when you reach them. If you don't have those, then how do you evaluate? So then you're happy because you make them, but they shouldn't rule out everything. And that's why I'm saying that when you don't hit those things, then you have to realize that the journey is part of the joy, and learning to make the difference in the changes. And by Brian, like, saying to me what you said, which is, you know, this passion of creating, that is, if that doesn't hit home for people, I don't understand what you're listening to then.
I think a lot of people don't have a passion for it, unfortunately. And I think they're burning out really fast because you're going to. There's just no other way around it. I don't know. It's a good question. It's a good topic. We talk about it quite honestly. I had another thread of thought I was going to dump in here, but I just lost it. That dog barked through me.
It's my dog this time. I think it's mine. The door's open now.
The cat has stolen the dog.
Oh my gosh.
Screaming, John. I mean,
my dog will start barking in a minute. Don't worry about it.
So this is great. You know, I'm not going to get caught up on the fact that I have just had a complete piss poor presentation on this show, and concentrate on the fact that my content is good when it hits. I got some content.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And listen, how does anyone know anything if you haven't actually streamed and you haven't actually put a show together and you haven't like evolved? Like Jeff and I talk about how we want to have like a time each week on a day that we're going to go and commend people for their achievements, or we want to go and talk about maybe new product topics, or we're going to evolve. But you have to realize we're at such an infancy stage right now that these things are going to be works in progress. But trust me, we talk about these things because we're going to talk about the growth of things. And we know that to take things to the next level, we're going to have to incorporate some new things. And it's actually going to make what I talked about is change and refreshing. And then Jeff and I will be happy.
Yeah. And we are in infancy. I mean, we're still trying to figure out the whole diaper thing. I'm hoping that we get some kind of clarification on that. I'm dumped into a bunch of YouTube channels on that. So, we're making progress on some of those issues. And,
Brian sounds like a dog. Right. Something's fishy there. Oh, he's got a fish too. I don't want to say that.
Oh, he does have a fish. He's got a Yoda and a fish, and
yeah. So Gary says I recently did an intro and outro, and those are great. I mean, they're good to have, especially with a stream. So if you're talking about a stream and you're just going to have an intro and an outro, and they're relatively short, but remember, the important thing is the countdown timer is important, because connected to your countdown timer is when people subscribe, if they hit the bell, that gives them a signal that you went live. It gives them a couple minutes to regroup and look at their phone and say, oh, he's live. When I get up here, I'm going to go and check it out. So when you leave 3 to 5 minutes max going into your stream, then that's acceptable because it makes sense in the whole broad scheme of things. And other people will have different opinions about whether or not they're going to go in and maybe trim those things. I don't like to do that because you lose the live chat. And I think the live chat is important. And I think what happens live is important. So in this particular time where I am with everything, I'd rather let everything just be raw and let people come back and look at everything and enjoy the stream and see the chat. So that will go different for other people.
And those are also things that affect different audiences different than others. And to circle back, I say this jokingly, but I think it's something to good remember. And it's laying at the feet of what Brian said about his friend and his friend saying about legacy. And I don't dismiss that. You should do whatever you want for any reason. My only thing is this: the only thing you really have is now. And the only thing you have is the journey of what you're dealing with now. And of course, you're going a little bit, but at the end of the day, whether it's legacies or what you think is going to happen, I'll give you an example. The average, go ask somebody over or 15 and younger, even 20 and younger, who Elvis Presley was. Yep. You are going to get a blank stare. Here's a guy who took the world by storm. Everybody knew his name at one point, that stood on this planet, was the most accomplished person, blah, blah, blah. And in another generation, very few people are going to know who this person was or what they did. Now, I'm not trying to be dark about it. I'm just saying, if we start worrying about legacies, and if Elvis Presley can't hold the attention of people at under 50, 60, 70 years, I think I'm not going to worry about so when I think about those things, I think, man, all I got is what I'm doing. I can learn, I can have fun with Brian and John and other people. I can evolve and progress. And that journey for me is the only thing I've got that's real. And I hope that people at least don't have to make as much of a focus as I try to say, but at least consider it as part of their plan.
Right. And I just want to quickly put this up because Ed is here.
Hey, Ed.
Flash in the pan. And this is another example of a guy who is streaming, and he has lots of people come to his stream. And because he's going over topics that are important to people, and they find his stream and they watch. And that just goes to show you, depending on what it is, you'll be so surprised about the draw that these people have. I mean, I know a guy who has he travels in his Winnebago, and he does a live on a Friday in front of a fire, and he's got literally 800 people watching his live stream. 800. And so it's just incredible what people will watch and what they enjoy, and don't ever underestimate these things. But Ed's saying, I have trimmed down my start timer and I have had feedback about the live chat. I'm going to stop trimming off the fat and leave it. And so here's an example where he's tried something, he's had the feedback, and I am, you know, right now where it stands for me, this is what I like to do. I like to leave everything raw just as it is. People can go back. They really enjoy seeing their stuff in the chat. They even much more enjoy seeing the stuff pop up on the screen. And if you watched my new video and you're using OBS, this is not a plug, Jeff. It's true. Go watch the video because I think it's awesome that this is something that I looked for a year, how I can show my comments on the screen in OBS, and it was a big factor why I ever found StreamYard was because of that. I could not find a way to pop up the stuff, and StreamYard, if you can do, if you know, there's so much you can do here, especially if you have 3 people on and we have, you know, the movement and everything. It's great, but also I like the way it looks in OBS with the high resolution and to be able to pop up things. It's awesome. So anyways, but John has a good point here too, which is leave a tiny pause. And literally it could be a tiny pause, not even 1 second after the countdown timer, and then start talking so you can edit off the timer at the.
That's something that I need to do. I always forget to do.
And just as an alternative, instead of editing it, you could always make chapter markers, and you could have the in your description, the video starts here. If somebody didn't want to have to like scroll and find the exact.
And I'm not sure if you can do that with lives, though. Can you? Do you know that?
Can you not do that with lives?
I don't know.
I thought you could, but maybe I don't.
John Poland might have dabbled into that.
Someone might know about that.
Yeah.
But the thing
Poll
is,
the audience.
Notice what John's saying here, though. He says, if you don't mind losing the live chat. And so to me,
that's a bummer for me.
That's a bummer for me too, because the whole point of being live is to have the people. I mean, listen, if you didn't have the people watching you, what would you be doing?
And let me ask you this, and I ask you this seriously to people here, and I'm sure I'll get pushback, but who cares? Who cares about the timer? You can just click. I click forward all the time on things. Is it hard to just fast forward 2 minutes?
I agree, but you know, listen, I think you have to test things, and I think that once you test them and you see how that might work in your production, if it's effective, maybe so. I don't know. So here's the thing: like, let's take Chocolate Twist Yoga, right? Maybe if she's doing a yoga class and maybe it's streaming, maybe she wants to cut off the beginning, and most people they're not making a lot of comments. They're not making a ton of comments while she's live, then maybe they just want to watch the video for the replay, and it gets her more replays. Then that would make sense. Speaking of Chocolate Twist Yoga, if you haven't checked her channel out, it's pretty awesome too. So
it is. It'll get you a little bit. I think, you know, look, again, the nice thing is people have different intentions. And so some people, it is going to be worth cutting that off for them. That's their plan. I respect that. And then you and I just think for us, we're still, you know, we talk about the community all the time. I think for us to go in and cut the energy of that out feels counterintuitive. So I wouldn't do it. But, you know, if other people feel like, well, there's enough information there that it's kind of a pseudo, maybe video demo. Okay. Maybe that's fair. And so again, different strokes, you know.
Right. Right. And so back to what Brian was kind of saying is that John is saying at the end here, he says, yes, you can add chapters later. So
okay, that's good to know.
The thing is, if you do add chapters later, and I don't know if you know this, John, if you do add chapters, do you lose the live chat with that? Which I don't think you would, but
I don't think you would because it's just a metadata thing.
Right.
I mean, you basically.
To me, that would be the good
middle
ground. Mm-hmm. Probably if you wanted to do it. Now I'm just of it's a joy. Put it out there. It's raw. It captured the moment. If one person's annoyed over 1,000 because they had to do it, fine, whatever.
Well, this show is the strength is not only your guys's like banter and talking back and forth, but it is the community. It's the people that are leaving comments and asking their questions. That's what this show is. This show would be nothing. Like not nearly as good as it is without that. So, I mean, like you get what I'm saying, though. I mean, that's not supposed to be a backhanded compliment or anything.
No, I'm kidding. I'm sarcastic.
I got knuckles to the face, and
the people here. You're right, Brian. This is
true, though.
This is why, right?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And I noticed, curiously, how our color scheme tonight is crazily blended into.
You and ours look very similar, right?
We are like, I think our hues are almost
bland.
I didn't get the memo.
you really stand out. You kind of, I don't know, you're kind of making us look bad.
I'm using the beautiful tungsten background. It's like that's my color. Tungsten.
Yeah, I like that too.
But John and I look like, I don't know, we look like an After Hours Stars Network kind of.
Listen, I'm telling you right now, the three of us look pro. I mean, we look good. We got ourselves in the back. I worked my butt off to get here.
And John Ryan didn't also get the memo. We're supposed to wear a hat tonight. And,
and I didn't wear glasses, so we're so close.
This show's a mess. We're gonna kill it. We'll
start over. Let's do it again. This
is a nightmare.
So I really appreciate you stopping in here.
Yep.
Right, Jeff?
Yeah, absolutely. Great questions, great energy. Thank you so much, V, for stopping in. Please come back. Yes, we would love to have you drop in and let us know how it's going. Give us some updates on what's happening and drop some questions.
Absolutely. And leave a comment down below in case we
can find you.
Find your channels.
We'll find you. We'll sub you. We'd love to. Yeah, absolutely.
Thanks for stopping in. You had great questions. You made our night. And everyone who comes in here and puts forth a lot of good questions where things can be learned and taken and evaluated and put into progress is a huge plus, because that's what we're all about. That's what we want to do. And it gives back, and a community can only do that. And that's like what Brian said earlier, is that the people make it here. You know what I mean? So everybody showing up is really the people who are making this.
It's true. And then we always start with a topic, and then we just let chat take us where we're going, because you don't know. There might be something that's look, if it's not, we always have to talk about if chat's a little bit sidetracked, but I mean, usually they're not, and they have great questions, and then we should just go with that, because that's kind of the point why we're here, right? We're all trying to learn. I ask all these questions because I'm trying to learn. I'm new and I'm trying to figure it out, and it really helps me. And I'll be honest with you, as I go through and think about things, there's a lot of content here for me to pull about, to talk about. It's really a great source for all of us.
Right. And then, so, just so people know that, because we do have a few people that were brand new in here, if there's any questions about cheaper capture cards, cameras, what lenses,
mics,
any type of information that maybe you have questions with, don't be afraid. If you're lurking, don't be afraid to say hello and stop in, even if it's hi and I'm watching from somewhere. So if you don't want to tell us anything or give any info, just say, hey, how you doing? I'm watching from so-and-so. That would be great.
Exactly. And I just want to throw it out there. We have Brian Paul, who's an Emmy-winning, guy in the film, who I know is really astute at also editing and is amazing with cameras. I think if you have questions about these items, now is your time, because I can tell you, as somebody who has kept him up really late with my questions, he's a wealth of information and he's willing to help. And so if you have any questions, throw them out there. Don't be afraid to ask. I mean, he'll probably get mad, but ask him anyway.
Well, I think also Brian and I, we see a lot eye to eye about most of the camera stuff, and
he says that now.
Not favored. He's not favored, right? He's not favored to one, I believe, maybe so much, but even if he is favored to one, he's going to tell you the strengths and pluses of other things too. Because even like, I feel like if a car manufacturer makes a car, like a whole bunch of cars, it could be 10 of them aren't great, but these 2 are really good. And then he's going to give you his opinion on them. And he's going to say that out of all these, this is the ones I would buy. And that's what I love. And if I don't know something, Brian might know something. Or, listen, you got a guy here with an A5100 and a 6400 that he's using every day. And that's another thing. Like, we may get some info from Jeff about how to utilize things better, because when we're in it every day, we learn it, right, guys?
You use it, you're going to learn it as much as we have to do it. Brian, would you say, I think a lot of do you think a lot of people that are in photography cinema do you consider them kind of a brand loyal after a while, or do you find them to be agnostic? Are you brand loyal with something, or are you specific with your manufacturing?
I think you end up like, oh my God, the cat's got something. Stop it.
Hilarious. I'm afraid to ask what it has.
Anyways, so I'd say that there's a lot of fanboyism just in general, and this stuff costs a lot of money. So if someone spends, $3,000 on a camera to have you tell them it's not the best, or I prefer a different one, they take that personally. And so there's a lot of like that in the community. But I think there's also a lot of people that are open to just like, what is the best right now, or what's the best for my money, or the best what I do. And when it comes to cameras, it really is the best tool for the job. If you have $500, ish, and you need a camera for live streaming like this, or just a general camera, you really can't beat like John's recommendation, the Canon M50 Mark II.
Right.
And it's just, you can't. And
you cannot.
But for me, I really value the full frame sensor, and I use it for both video and for photography. I feel like it's more important with photography to have a larger sensor, because when you see a portrait and something that you take on your phone, the difference really is it's how much that blurry background is, how well it does in low light, and that's all just advantageous of the larger sensor.
Right.
And so I think that could be important too.
I think you hit the head right on the nail. So you get
confetti, yay!
You didn't realize this, but if you don't want to see what happens when you get the answer wrong.
Oh crap!
It's not confetti.
I don't want to play with drops from the top. But John has a good question here, and I'm curious. He says, "Okay, I have an actual text question, which this refers to StreamYard, so maybe we won't be able to answer this. But I downloaded some sound effects on the StreamYard desktop app. Where did they go? I see where they download to. Do you know?" Now, John, I'd have to say, off the top of my head, I don't know, but I know that like I downloaded right here that the confetti from StreamYard, and I put it into my branding, I think, right? So go into branding, and then you have video clips, and those video clips, they do play sound. So you could put it there, and then I put my confetti into overlay, and I don't know if overlay plays sound, but you'd have to check. So these are things that it most likely be one of those in there, and then you just got to make sure that plays off sound. So but that's a good question, and actually I would try something. I'm going to try that actually and see.
Yeah, I have to try that out. I mean, I would imagine it's in the he's in a Mac though, right?
Yeah, but it doesn't matter because
it does, because there's going to be different locations. I mean, Windows is going to put it in the users, probably in a users folder of that PC.
No, it doesn't. The sound effects can't be played through your PC to StreamYard. It's all web based. He's got to bring them into StreamYard. So
he has the desktop.
But
app.
He says he's got the desktop app.
Yeah, I haven't used that. Is that?
Oh,
I didn't even know you could
download
that.
Yeah,
StreamYard desktop app.
So I'm assuming,
I don't know. That is a good question.
So that's good. It's going to be in default folders. So I would go into that, and I would, I don't want to get into the.
You guys see that Stream Deck, not StreamYard. It was a typo.
That's I've never heard of the app, so that was like freaking out. Going, I have no idea what he's
talking about.
I downloaded some sound effects on the Stream Deck. Okay.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, the answer probably still going to be pretty much the same, but the profiles. Let's see here. He's using Mac though, right? He's got to be using
it's wherever you decide to download them to. So I can't answer that question because you probably have a choice to download.
I want to suggest, by the way, getting an app called Search Everything, and put that in your computer and try it out. It's a really amazing tool. I won't get into it. It's a productivity tool for finding anything on your computer.
Because when you go into your Stream Deck, all you do is go and pull out wherever you place that particular thing and just drag it over and drop it. At least that's wherever, however I did it.
So you can always use the magnifying glass on a Mac and search for .mp3. And as long as you don't have like a ton on your desktop, you should be able to find it.
Absolutely.
Everybody, I always love people's desktops when I work on their computers. It's like so full of stuff. It's hilarious. Yeah, I don't know.
I also preferences in most documents. I don't know that particular one, but most of them will have a place where you can choose where to deposit your stuff, especially in Mac. So I'd check out preferences, and then I'd do the search, the magnifying glass.
He's going to look into it. He says it's not in his download folder, but that's a good, if it's an MP3, like he said, at least you can search for MP3s, pull it up, and then you'll see
you'll probably take an hour. There's a lot of MP3s probably on his computer, but it is a great approach, honestly. Is it *.mp3 or do you have to put just .mp3? How does that work on theirs? Because with Windows, you're going to want to put asterisk.
It shouldn't take more than a minute.
You don't have to. Oh, well, I mean, John might have like 1 million songs on there, and they'll never find.
Yeah, I mean, if it's got heavy amount of songs, and how big is this hard drive?
Right. Well,
how many hard drives does he have?
And you can also once you get MP3s up, you can arrange them by most recent, and then hopefully find it that way.
Has a hard
I mean, where did he download it from? If you download through a browser, your browser it's probably wherever your browser downloaded. So if you go check where I'm assuming it was maybe a browser. If it was there, then the browser will tell you the location,
Well, I assume it was with the app itself.
Oh, well, that's different then. Yeah, if it was the app, I don't know. That's true.
Ed is saying that Streamlab has a Stream Deck app you can download to your phone, Streamlab. I don't use Streamlabs. I use OBS Studio because it's less of a little bit of memory hog. And so,
I have the Stream Deck app, just generally speaking, that I got from the Android store that you can just have and use. It's $2 a month. So I think there's a model of a few dollars a month. I'm going to use it to test it, to play with it. Obviously, I'd rather have buttons, but I'm sure you can just export the profiles over when you get the actual deck and import them, which is nice. So you're not wasting too much time.
Right.
Yeah. How's that working out for you, Ed? Just out of curiosity, did he say no?
I tell you what though, man, I love the Stream Deck because it just makes things so easy. And then the way that you can actually have triggers set off in vMix. So at least when the countdown ends and how your name can slide in and everything starts out fresh. I mean, those kinds of things make everything a lot easier when it comes to streaming. So because when you start streaming, you realize there's a lot to it and there's a lot of little things. So could you imagine if you had to go through your stuff on your desktop like this, right? And now I got to go through all these little apps and find the one that says sub right here and hit that perfect every time. And then you worry about if you're going to just shut your whole stream down.
Yeah. Anytime you're tabbing out to get things done, you've got probably a problem. And to your point, it's always some goofy Bluetooth thing that decides to shut her up and you just shut down your whole stream, or you open up music while you're trying to talk to your buddy online. You hit something, anything you're using on the mouse gets dangerous. And, I do think it's great to learn these things without Stream Deck. But the evolution is you should have something that you can use to have a button controlled and macros. I think it's great. vMix especially, man. vMix is it's a beast compared to OBS. So
yeah. And so just putting those things together just makes everything run a lot smoother. That's for sure. And yeah, I mean, so okay. So he found it and life goes on. He's in good shape, but
he did find it.
Yeah, he found it. He said it was downloaded right into the Stream Deck folder. So continuous conversation. Asked Jeff, what happened with the DaVinci Resolve license and speed editor?
I didn't get it, but I do have it. I do have it up. Hopefully they'll still continue that. I did play. I'm playing around, by the way. And I had, Brian, I have an update for you. That we'll talk about off a line on the cut tool. I made some major, like yesterday I was kind of wanting to just be done with it.
Right.
And we kind of talked. And then today I did some tooling, some more, it's like pushing through some time when it's painful, when you want other things, you're under the gun. the eye-opening world that came out. I found out some things today that will make what we were talking about a little obsolete, and you'll be like, oh, this is a great thing for this.
Awesome.
So the issue we were having with was compound clips and multicam in getting that into the cut tool. Well, you can do it. And what I didn't know, because I thought you would have to make it all a single clip again, and then to do the multicam, turns out you can have all those individual, like you sync them up in the sync bin up there, and all individual bins. And when you, after that's done and you set your main frame, your main timeline down there, you find something in a secondary clip, you just drag it down. You don't even, doesn't matter where you drag it. It will place it where it's supposed to go.
Oh, nice.
And start stacking in that cut tool. It is impressive.
Awesome.
So I think that that's a great way to go. It doesn't get rid of that editor tool. You still need that for really good editing things, but
yeah,
I can use it for what I'm trying to do. I didn't think it was worthwhile. It turns out it is. I really want, now that I'm doing after today, now I really want the speed editor tool. So I think I might really get into that.
What's the cost of the speed editor?
It's like $200, right?
And it's free if you get the license.
Yeah, I think the license is $200, and then the speed editor, I think
it's free. I think it's money. I'm just take my money. I mean, I think that's kind of how I feel about it.
Yeah, so that's, and I know they do a couple times a year or like something like that. So it's definitely something to watch, because on top of that, right, because you get the license, you get all the extra effects that you aren't able to use in Resolve, which is awesome. And then you get the speed editing tool, which of course will be another thing that I'll have to learn, but if it does make a huge plus. And see, when we talk about tech, I always feel like something like this is a big thing for me to incorporate. So everybody else has different feelings, but for me, like, this is the thing where I look at and I go, oh boy, this is going to be a hard change.
We all have that thing, right? That's like, this is, I mean, even for me, because I love it. I don't think I'm bad at it. It's just that it's not been my environment for so long, and then trying to do, and I think also trying to be cautious because of the material and new time and all that. I think, maybe that was getting into my psyche a little bit. And then we were running into a little bit of roadblocks with the path. And I'm like, I'm just not willing to give up quite yet. And then something happened today. I'm like, this is actually perfect for what I want. It's just that, of course, when you don't know what you don't know, and I think this is a whole nother discussion, but I think there's a line between waiting too long to do things, another line to say, I'm so close to knowing some awareness things that could really help open major doors and floodgates. But how long do you like, I gave myself a little bit of today to kind of finish that thought out. But at some point you got to just go. Like, you can't sit on that forever. You got to revisit it later down the road. But,
yeah, exactly. So he's saying it's $295 lifetime license, and that's with all updates too, right? So you keep on getting the updates, or no?
Yeah, lifetime.
If it's lifetime, it would mean usually.
I think if you get most, like, Blackmagic likes to give away the Resolve license. If you get to one of their cinema cameras, which they're actually pretty cool, you get the license free.
They look amazing.
I'm surprised they're not giving it away with the ATEMs. I mean, I guess they're just cheap enough that you can't, but that'd be a really nice pairing.
Wow. Yeah, sure.
Especially if you're buying Extreme.
Yeah, and I may buy the Extreme. I've been eyeballing it. And, so my TriCaster has been taking its time turning on, and I still have to do monthly live streams that I need a full switcher and everything. So I'm thinking of replacing it with the Extreme, which is ironic because the stream I could buy like 5 of Extremes for what I paid for the TriCaster. So that's fun.
That's great.
Do it. Buy 5 just to say that you did it.
And then plus it opens up the doors a little bit more than the TriCaster, right?
No, it's definitely a downgrade feature wise, but it's I can do 99% of what I want to do on there. So that's nice.
I think if you can do 99%, I think for that cost difference, you're good to go, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Even with the TriCaster, you can stream from it directly.
Yeah,
it's directly. Okay.
Yep.
I didn't know if
stream directly. You can do virtual sets and everything. So if I had a green screen, I could put myself on like a one of those big shiny ESPN like
In a family
sets.
of orangutans.
Yeah, and I could have a whole family of orangutans next to me and stuff. So I mean,
cool.
It is super powerful, and I could definitely do a video describing the difference between a $10,000 machine and a $2,000 machine. But yeah, so John's got that too. See, he's already there. He's got the virtual sets. But it's
hi guys.
Look at this guy.
Exactly.
Just sometimes, you know, last night he says, "Come on, VMix, let's try it out." So I come on. He says 3 words to me the rest of the 2 hours as he's building out this. I hear him. He's talking under his breath, but he's like, "I don't get this. Why is this not? I don't get this. Why is this not working? I don't get it." He's going crazy over here.
I just make some of my tests with the TriCaster live on my channel because like I imported like this like owl and then I set it on fire and then I had like strobe lights going and it's just building the set, just making it insane. It's so crazy what you can do with this stuff.
It is crazy, honestly. We're the only ones holding us back.
I'm gonna get to this in a second, but it's funny.
Formal tonight.
But Gary comes in and says, "Hey, fella, yeah, Gary, we don't do these like little streams for an hour. We go, bro. We go.
Yeah, you can't. I mean, we're going to eat into your productive day.
I learn and how Jeff learns, and we're all learning. So we kind of like just go at it, and for now, and then at some point, it's going to probably get dialed back to a certain point. But we work hard at trying to practice everything and do everything. So he says, "Hey, fellas, thanks for a good morning. For me, it's pleasure learning and listening to the stream. Got to go office to clear some work. Cheers! Thank you so much for coming in. I really appreciate that, and I hope to catch you on your next stream too.
Great to meet you, Gary.
Yeah, thanks, Gary." And
what is Aaron talking about? Formal? What are we being formal? What does that mean?
I don't know. He
explain yourself, sir.
He says that John Pullum, is it me or John and Jeff are being more formal? You know what it is?
I think because I'm here, right? You guys are. Like
I think it's when you have guest company,
right? It's definitely Brian with the cat and the fish and the orangutans, and he's bringing everything.
That's true.
I'm bringing the level of the show down for sure. So this is going to be the lowest attended stream.
I think maybe it's just I think more and more, I don't know, because Aaron was on vacation for a little while, but we're trying to have like something where we talk about a specific topic for a little bit, because then I think it just draws people in and it asks questions sometimes, and it puts thoughts in people's heads, and maybe like, oh, let me throw this out here and I can share this experience. And so I think maybe it's that, and we're trying to do that a little bit more and more. So,
I mean, he's not talking about the way I look. I mean, look at us. We look like we fell off the back of a truck.
We're not more looking, right?
I mean, we're not. I know what he's saying. It probably because Brian's here. We got company, and we just, we swept everything under the rug, kind of make it look clean, and we pretended like we changed the bed sheets, but we didn't. But he's going to stay the night.
And Aaron actually came into Sammy's stream and said hi. So I didn't know that.
I feel bad I missed it, but
he was over. I didn't know that he was subbed to Sammy and that he saw that. So that was kind of cool to see him in there. It's always good to see someone that I know.
I know. I feel so bad I missed it, but shoot, that is what it is.
Yeah, you see it, but so
I'm devastated. I will somehow get through this missing.
So I tell you,
I would have liked to seen it, honestly.
No, I know.
Probably catch the replay, right? That's going to be up.
I'll catch replay, but it's not as much fun. You do like to go in and give live support, and we get so much of it. And I got my head squarely in up different places where it shouldn't be this week for a variety of reasons, and so I missed it. But I wanted to go in and support the guys and all that. I feel bad about that.
Yeah. Well, going back to watch it, we'll definitely support. So
that's true. It is true.
Yeah. And just stop in there and
for sure.
But I have to go to bed, guys. 4:38 comes early, and it's 11:15 now. Good night. Good talk. See you around. Ed, really, thanks for stopping in.
Thanks, man. Thank you so much.
I love it. I love it because it's just, everybody drops some good stuff and they come in and just shoot it, and I love it. So thanks, man. And really, we have a good time with everything, and that's what's important. And that's what the topic was, right? Just making YouTube fun, and you guys, meeting you guys and finding you guys, is making YouTube fun for me. and I really appreciate the friendships and the stuff that we're getting out of all this, and because we check each other sometimes too, you know what I mean?
It's very
And
true.
that keeps us a little bit sane.
Yeah, it keeps you sane, and sometimes it keeps you out of quicksand. You can get, if I find myself getting a little, like you get in those things where you just start sliding because you're just having trouble. It's nice to have people that can really pull you out quick, and so you don't spend too long into that mode. It's healthy to have those people around you to do that.
So absolutely. And that's what it is though. Like, no one goes through every week being like, as happy as Lala. So, which is our friend, right?
She's
Always
forever.
in a good mood. And the thing is, we all have families, we all have struggles, we all have things that we're going through. And when, not everybody knows everything behind the scenes. And what I really thought was cool today was if I was catching Heather Ramirez stream today, and someone made a comment in the live chat and said, every time that you put your hand down on the table, it makes a noise. And Tom Buck was like, listen, what can I tell you? Deal with it. And I was like, whoa, I've never heard him say something like that, because it's just
that's a full-on rampage for Tom Buck. I mean,
that's like the Incredible Hulk.
That's like turning over cars for that man. I mean, that's so out of school for him. But everybody has a line, and sometimes you just are not wanting to put up with it.
I complimented him. I don't know if it came across as a compliment, but I was impressed.
The next thing is he's yelling at you, sir.
I put a comment in there. Yeah, because I was like, good for him. You know what I mean? Good for him, because because he said, how much we're doing here, doing a live stream? Do you know how much is involved with doing an eCam live stream? Like, you're one person, and you're doing so many different things, and who needs to be picked apart like that? It's not really fair. But
and then flash forward, Tom's tonight writing a personal letter to this person apologizing. I'm sorry, I had a rough morning.
I know.
I didn't mean to snap at you.
And now we got other people.
Please take a PSA 1 for your pain.
We got everybody who's following Tom coming in and saying, "Oh, he said that." Yeah, and so like I think Aaron gets it too. It's like, Tom doesn't stick up for himself a lot of times, or maybe he doesn't come across like that. And it's nice to see that everybody's got boundaries. No one needs to put that in your stream. And you want to correct somebody, you can correct them on the spot, and you're not going to go very far, with going on with that kind of talk.
The funny thing is, he probably steps over so many much worse comments, but you get to a point where you're just, you snap. It's just too much. You know what I mean? It's like,
but he doesn't get a lot of garbage. They have a really good community over there, and they don't get a lot of garbage. So that's a plus. And
I'm sure he filters, so we don't see a lot of the comments that maybe he holds back to.
Maybe, yeah.
I've never seen anyone pop into your guys' stream and give you a bunch of stuff. It's like, does that happen behind the scenes? Or
well, I got not so far, but Jeff got a comment last week. I got hammered on a live stream where there was 25 people nailed me.
You got raided basically by a bunch of kids who were like, let's go cause trouble. I put up something on Tuesday that I shouldn't have really. I didn't read it. I learned something from that. I read part of it and went, oh, I'm just going to put it. This is stupid. And then I read further and I'm like, well, okay, I probably shouldn't have put that up. It's just a random idiot, I laughed. I think it's funny, but I hate to give them attention,
Yeah. Well, here, Aaron's saying, if I got what he was saying with the Stream Deck and the Steam Deck, two different products, maybe I didn't, and I got to look at that. I was really busy today and yesterday, so I will take a look, because maybe I totally just didn't catch what you were saying. So I will.
It's annoying that it's like Steam Lab, Stream Deck, Steam Deck. It's like, oh my god, people. Somebody's got to change the
original names for things.
I know, enough with
this. Call it the orangutan streamerama.
Nobody will know how to spell orangutan.
That's why you use spell check. It's fine.
Right. I saw you posted it. I was surprised. Don't give them the spotlight, or else they'll continue. I did post it because I think that I left the chat out. so I got rid of the chat and I posted it because the great thing is I don't think it really shows anything in my stream about what they were talking about, and it didn't really affect me overall. And yeah, you know what it is? If I would have gone and said something that really wasn't going to be, it's like, listen, I'm not going to win that situation, especially when that's 25 people coming in, dropping like hundreds of comments. So you got to just kind of be cool with it and chill out. And that was it. Oh, he's saying no when Jeff posted it on the screen.
Yeah,
that was kind of funny.
It definitely, I needed to read that whole sentence, and it was like, well, afterwards, I'm like, well, I need to not do that, but it is what it is. And I did post it. And I these things are coming at you fast, and you're going to make mistakes. I laugh it off. It's not the end of the world. They're just words, which, as a person very close to me always says, they're just words, are just, words of the earth. They're just not a big deal.
Yeah, if it happens more and more, you'll learn how to have to try to adjust. So we'll be learning if that happens. We'll definitely learn about how to do the best thing to shut that down. So
yeah, and look, I just blocked the person right away. I didn't play around with him. I didn't make a big deal out of it, and I think that's the thing. Now, John was in a different scenario, and that becomes a little different thought when you have more than a couple people and they're doing it as a targeted event. I like how you played it out, because I think, like you said, if you had reacted in a way that would have made you look bad, fine. I think we have a different discussion.
Yeah.
But I think also if you're handling it well, it just looks bad on them and it makes you look good. I think it's life. It happened. It's okay. Like,
I'd like to see it, honestly. Like, I don't think I've seen that.
I think. I wasn't saying much because of they were definitely putting some harsh words up there, and they were busting on me and calling me old man, bald guy, all this kind of stuff. And
no, that stuff just makes, like, I just laugh. I don't even care.
Yeah, that didn't bother me. But there was other things.
I mean, that's pretty much me every time I look in the mirror.
Yeah.
Well, you've said nothing to me in those chats that I don't say before like 9 a.m. So
there were things that I couldn't put up on the screen, and then at that point, it just wasn't real positive to do. And so I didn't want to show that, and I didn't feel great about that. And I kind of just said to them, they're voicing their opinion, and I understand that, and I don't think it's a place for us to talk about that opinion right now, but I understand. And
it's not even an opinion. They're just trolling to get attention. And so they're picking at things they think will bother you so that you will give them that attention. It's so funny.
Yeah. But in the end, they were like, oh, this guy's not getting upset. That's
cool. The thing. They're probably, like I said, I think they're gamer types. Right. And they know. And gamer types, as I know, because I've been in a lot of those arenas, if you don't give into it and you just kind of like, they ended up respecting you. It's weird. It's a weird.
Right. Right. absolutely.
Yeah.
And so is this John's new channel? Is this what he's doing?
I think he's been hacked. I think he got hacked. And, that channel. John, I'm sorry.
I need to check out that channel. He's got that royalty-free music channel. I haven't checked it out yet.
He does, and look at. I mean, he's very free with the poo-poo head.
How did you guys know about this? I don't even know about this.
I know he's talking about John though, not me. So
don't be a
you poo-poo head. I like poo-poo head. That's a great like. Yeah, right there, poo-poo head. Yeah, he started that royalty-free music thing like what 2 months ago. Where you?
It's been out there for a little bit.
Oh, I thought. Yeah, he started this a few months ago, but has he done anything with it?
Yeah, he goes around and trolls people and calls them poo-poo head. That channel.
Okay,
that's always a great emphasis for channels. Just to
he's done. I know he's done a couple videos that have to do with comparing channels and things like that with like different.
I didn't know if this is like a new direction because he's definitely doing something, so I didn't know.
This has nothing to do with the actual direction thing that he was talking about.
I'm still waiting for him to dress up like a bush and start commenting.
What if he dresses up as a bush and he calls people poo-poo head when they walk by?
I think he actually probably just gives them compliments, like, "Hey, nice shoes." And like, what? This bush.
Don't you talk to me, sir.
All right. Anyways, I think we can end on a good note tonight.
Anyways,
ending on poo-poo head.
Yeah, we'll end on poo-poo head. But I think we just had like a good discussion about trying to find a way to stay into the YouTube and just keep positive and not put a lot of pressure on yourself, and make sure you're reevaluating yourself, or you're stopping and taking a breath and looking at your points that are causing you stress and making those adjustments. And also, we always talk about this, right? Maybe you need to get a stream buddy.
Get a stream buddy.
Stream buddies, I think we'd laugh about it, but I think it's been, for me, probably the biggest, I think it's one of the biggest assets that I've gotten out of all of this, as far as I think ultimately, again, my success is not based on numbers, but I think my success to this point is all based on having a community and streaming buddies to get me through.
Yeah. A community is important, and that's why we're here, so people can bounce things off and talk about things. And I think that it's gonna go further. And like, listen, I know it's summertime. I know people go on vacation. I know we're not going to have the most amount of people at these streams in the summer, but it's like, I still have to stay consistent, and I still have to not be focused on the numbers. As long as we walk away and people feel like they've gotten value out of it. And also, I think we're learning about each other and our pain points and discussing things, and we're practicing streaming. So,
well, we have a choice. We can begrudge where you're at and then say, I'll wait a year to whatever. But here's the thing. If we just are consistent in all of the endeavors, or even the collaboration endeavors, we're learning so much at a very quick pace. I am, for sure. I mean, it's massive. In the last 8 hours, what I've learned, for example. Now, flash forward a year from now, there's going to be a weight of momentum and then physical assets, in a way, that are going to amount to something. I don't know what. I think when you think about these issues, what do you think? I mean, I think if I had to ask to chat again early on, I would have been like, what are your expectations? Like, when you sat down and said, I'm going to do a YouTube channel, what was the first expectation that came out of your mind? Now, it could change, but I'm just curious, like, what were people thinking? Because the expectations are going to direct the flow of whether you are happy or not in doing what you do.
I had no expectations, and
you were living in the now. I got the feeling like you were kind of like, I'm doing this because I enjoy it. I'm gonna live in the now. And
I put it off for years. I know it's something that I've been wanting to do since 2008. I know there's like a certain amount of creativity in me, but I don't think it's like I'm gifted in any way with it. But when I make whatever I make, I get satisfaction on it, because I think that anyone in any way should get satisfaction out of creating whatever they create. Okay. It doesn't have to be the best. It doesn't have to be better than this guy's or better than that guy's. It just has to be fulfilling for you. Right. I mean, Brian, right?
Yeah. Yeah, no, definitely. I got a lot of enjoyment out of that little rig that you made, and took it around the house. I thought that was awesome. And like, you could see the joy that you got making that and putting it together and showing us. And I think a lot of people enjoyed that stream. And I think creativity doesn't always have to be being able to paint a painting. I think, or snapping the best photo and photography, or what. It's like creativity is beyond that. It's creating something with whatever tool you're passionate about. So I mean,
and so my tagline is, creativity is curiosity in action.
Exactly.
And I think that, and I'm leaning into that. That's my channel. And we've talked about it, because it has to do with learning. Do you love to learn? Are these things that you love to learn about? If you do, it's going to open up creative doors for you. So by just learning.
Exactly.
And so, look, if John does that, I agree. You could see the joy in John, right? Now let's just look at John, and you can see that he's not enjoying this. He's just trying to get a video out. He's just trying to do it because he wants subs. You can see that it's not fun. I'm not going to come back to that. It doesn't make me inspired.
Right. Yeah. And I think that you're definitely, when you're new, you're going to see a difference in the videos and in the live streams too, because it's hard to be like your personality while you're trying to make a video.
Yeah.
It's like you have this information you have to get out, and you don't really sure, because you're not really camera like etiquette wise and everything, and disposition is very kind of like confusing at first. And
you're
then,
aware. You're just hyper aware of everything.
yeah,
The lights, the camera, the recording, the fact that your content,
right.
you're not even, you're so aware, like too aware, right?
Yeah. So, and these live streams, I am aware, and we put a lot of effort into the way we look and everything, and the way our equipment functions. But it's so easy for me just to be myself. And,
right.
And then plus when I have you as a background person to filter out what I'm trying to say, because
it's the old John talks, and then I step in and go, okay, what John really wanted to say, what he really meant to say was,
what you're saying is everyone needs to go get themselves a JA. So everyone needs to go find one.
Yeah, but you know what it is though? Brian too, and Jeff, you guys get me, you know what I mean? And you've been around me enough to know my sarcasm and how I operate, and vice versa. And I think that when people stroll in, no one knows anybody right off the bat. And as you're trying to have a group of people, they'll get a better vibe of everybody. But it's also a lot of people have issues with trusting people in situations like this. And so it's not like something where everybody trusts each other right away. I'm saying like in a community where they come in regularly, it takes a while.
It does. It takes time. It's why grinding and being consistent and not having people have to find you. But John, you had me at hello.
Yeah.
Hello.
Cue the music. So are you going to carry me? Are you going to carry me out like an officer and a gentleman? You're going to carry me out of the plant at the end of the movie? Do you know that movie?
Out of the plant.
At the end of the movie of Officer and a Gentleman.
Oh, that's a long time ago, bro. That's a long time ago.
Oh, calm yourself, sir.
Is that like 81?
Probably mid 80s. No, it's not that early. But
someone get IMDb out. I know we can do this. We have the tools.
There's an actual app for this somewhere. Richard Gere wanted to carry me out of that. I forgot what it was. It wasn't a plant. It probably was a barrack or something. I can't remember what it was. I was young, but I remember the movie.
I don't remember that barely. I don't even know if I watched the whole thing.
I didn't watch
it. I've seen it.
It's just a famous ending, and then they start to cue the music. But I should have just stayed with who had me.
I'm like, I remember at the end when Hooper made the jump and he made it home. Burt Reynolds. Okay.
Oh my God, Hooper! You want to talk about me aging myself? Hooper is
old
back there. Yeah, let's go.
But John's right. John Pullum's right. Is that I wear my heart on my sleeve. You can see a lot of emotion, but also I think people mistaken my thinking face as an angry face a lot of times too.
Resting face.
And and what it is I guess I got that kind of face where a lot of people say I kind of look angry when I'm just walking.
Well, because to be honest, you do live in New Jersey, New York, and it's a kind of a mechanism. You don't walk around just smiling and grinning at everybody. They will pop you in the mouth, in the subway. You got to keep your distant face sometimes.
I think it's my look. I'm a shaved head. I'm a bigger guy. And it's like you portray an image and then people judge you. And it's like with everybody, everybody gets judged a certain way until you open your mouth. People can talk and they know where you're coming from. And then they can make educated decisions of whether or not what that person's really all about. So,
well, really, what did you think about me when you saw me the first time?
It's like, who's this old guy wanting the stream?
He goes right for the gut, like right in my heart. He put it in there, cut me up on live stream. That's fair. I appreciate that. That sounds honest.
I did not think that. I actually thought to myself, there's a guy who's trying to make an effort and is new to streaming like myself. And I was like, he's making an effort. You know what I mean? Like there were a certain amount of people that it was visible that they had a thought process of what they were trying to accomplish. And I saw that in you. And another thing is like, I got this vibe and I ran with it because I'm not a person that goes out and like for you to be in this stream with me is not anybody. I'm more of a one-man show with everything that I do.
You are, yeah.
And my personality is very dominating and how I function. And for me to allow someone to come in here and have some control over things is I had to trust the person that was coming in, and I also had to like their vibe, and I felt that you got me, and that was important.
Yeah, we hit it off right away, but I felt like, after third stream, you're going to kick me out.
Did you really?
No.
Oh,
no. Because here's the thing. Everything you say, I picked up on right away. I'm like, okay, I get the vibe. I get what this person's about. Now I deal with a lot of those types. I've dealt with them, musicians, New Yorkers, all that type. And I'm a loner myself, and I do like to have a semblance of control. The only time I relinquish that is when I feel just instant respect, or that clearly this person's just, they're not taking, they're out to try to build something and give to a greater cause. And you can feel that usually. Now we've all been burned by people. We're going to do that, but your intuition's pretty good in that case. And it's been fantastic. And Brian, we met him right away, and it was kind of the same thing. It was kind of like, oh, this is really cool. You get a feel, you get a vibe.
Well, you introduced me to Brian, so that was something I didn't make a connection with. And to be honest with you, I didn't make a big connection with a lot of people because I was actually doing, and that's the thing. Like, I am a doer. So like when I have a thought process of getting something done, I can't keep on going back to see how everybody else is doing, even though I try to be supportive in anything that they're doing, which I think most people would say I am. I mean, I make a grand effort of trying to see a lot of people.
You're everywhere, man. You're everywhere, which is inspiring to me. And it's something that it's helped me because it's actually pushed me in that direction. It's been hard as I'm trying to develop it. I'm like, ooh, don't make that too much of an excuse, not just to stop in and say hi. So I've been trying to make the rounds lately a little bit more to stop in and say hi, because I realize how important that is for me. And yeah, you are absolutely all over.
Plus, because I can do it right now, because there's going to be a day I can't.
Yeah.
And so like, as you grow as a YouTuber and a content creator, I mean, you really think that these guys are going around and saying hi to everybody stream? I mean, they go out there and they do it, and they go out and say hi, but I'm putting a lot of time into that right now. And as you move forward, that time has to be utilized for better causes for you to keep on pushing out your content. Yeah,
it's a shame in a way that it ends up kind of being like that one of the cost of the trade-off and the cost of maybe being successful at what you set out to do is a little detachment and the ability to get in. Now, there's other ways you can give back in a very huge way, and you, of course, would do that. We talked about, I would love to do that, but you can't do it in this intimate way often. That's kind of a downer. That's a cost of that.
Yeah. And so I want to take advantage of that time right now because I can. And then also the people that we're impacting, I want to see their growth, and I want to see how they're doing. And then when I come back, and these people aren't here anymore because they don't need us as much, then they just come back to say hi, and they say hello, and I look at their channels and they're doing great. And these are the kind of things that I hope happens to all of us, but also it's part of the main reason why we do these shows, is so everybody grows. I mean,
I did, and I was in a different spot because you're right. When you were doing like Lita, you were doing videos. I mean, you had other things. Like, I wasn't in that mode. I could be a little more present, tool around. I'm like, I'll work this for a month. I'll go ahead and work it for a month. And then I found people, and that was kind of cool. But now, I don't know that I could do it because I'm at this mode where I feel like my time has to be here. Right. It's not that it's better time. People can, like, I think, Brian, you're going to go do lead again. I think it's great. My time right now has to be here. And that's kind of what you're saying. Like, people will come in here and they'll grow to a certain point and they won't need us anymore, which is actually a good thing. And, then we'll get new people, and then that's great.
Yeah, there's always going to be new people, right, on YouTube and streaming. So there's always going to be people that need help and direction. And so, I mean, like, having someone even compliment us about advice is awesome. And honestly, it's really why I do it, because otherwise, then what am I doing it for? Because you're not making any money. You're putting a lot of time and effort. So this is a huge journey.
Brian, this is like freelance stuff, right? I mean, it is freelance. And we know, and I kind of make a mention of that in my getting this video I did. Was like, I've been doing this 20 years freelancing, and that's a pretty good accomplishment. But it's also tough. It's a different gig, and I think you got to set your expectations different, right? I mean, it's a different animal.
You don't have too many expectations. That's a good way to start.
I mean,
I think so.
It's
right?
like, what are you trying to get out of it? You know, we talked about that a little bit today. It's what is it? It's like, why are we doing this? What are we trying to get out of it? You know, and hopefully that's what you're trying to get out of it is something that doesn't have a monetary attachment to it. You know.
Yeah, and that will take care of itself.
Usually. Because really, don't sign up for Lita because you're going to meet more people and you think you're going to get subscribers. That's not the answer. That's not the answer.
I just need one. I just need to get to 100.
That's true. Although I'd be very disappointed if you didn't get to 100 tonight. That's going to bum me out.
I don't want subscribers from that. You know what I mean? I want people that are going to be here and be supportive and gain knowledge and care about where they're going. I don't want people to just hit a button because it doesn't matter. On top of that, you're going to need the 4,000 hours of watch time. So who cares? I'll get those from people watching the videos and want to subscribe to me. And it's going to make my channel and its algorithm kick off that much sooner in a positive direction.
So the reason I'm doing Lita is, first, I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the challenge, the everyday challenge, but I still need practice just like doing this. Obviously, I had like 2 things shut off. So, I mean, the more I can do it, the better I can get. But the real reason is the people that I met doing Lita and just like, I didn't watch TV for a month because every single, every couple minutes, a new interesting person came on. And while I'm kind of an introvert, I love people and I love story and I love hearing everyone's stories. And I'm looking to be kind of inspired by some people, maybe make some connections. And even if I come away with just like one person that I like, that I connect with, I think that will be a successful event. So that's kind of why I'm doing it.
Go ahead, John.
I was going to say, I agree. And at the same time you were talking, and we'll get back to this. I want to get back to this in a second, but right off the bat, John said the same thing you were saying is I met some incredible people in Lita. And that is the thing, right? That was the best part of it. But as far as me learning about streaming, I learned nothing. Me personally, I think a lot of other people will, but I didn't learn anything. And the other thing is, did I learn how to talk in front of the camera more or be in front of the camera? I think I learned how to use my phone. I've never streamed with my phone before. So when I picked up my phone, I was lost. Have I ever streamed with my phone since? No. But to each their own, and that's not a problem. I think that Lita thing is not as much about streaming as it is learning about yourself. And personally, I didn't need to learn about myself because I've gone that route already. So for me, it's different. It's just very different. And in the end of the whole thing, and I'm not putting it down in any way. It's just, it's really right for a lot of people, but it's not for me. And I don't usually join groups to begin with. And I'm happy that I did because I would have never met you guys. I would have never met John Pullum. I would have never met Lala, you know? So
the walk away from Lita was the people. Like, yes. All things aside, let's be honest. There's no better resource in life than good human contact and network. That is a priceless. You can't put a price on it. And in today's world, good luck meeting people, right, and doing that.
And that partially makes me would want to do it for that reason. But here's the truth of the matter, and it's not the same year anymore. You know, like. It's another time of the year. I've moved on. I have content that I need to create. Time is of the essence. I just moved. There's so many things that where when you say like when you're involved in something, Lita didn't take 5 minutes a day for me. It took a lot more than that. Yeah. And because I was involved in it because I wanted to put in to get out. So I don't want to go into something and just join it to meet more people. I would like to meet more people that have like-mindedness as us, but I'm also finding those people in other groups.
Oh, there'll be too much of a cost factor. Even for my situation at this point, as much as I loved what I got out of the people, and I'm like you, Brian, I love meeting people. There's always more people, but I have to nurture where I'm at right now. I'm at some point you do move beyond the benefit. There's diminishing returns. I think if I'm standing on the outside, my opinion on Brian doing it, I think Brian's going to go in. I think one more time will be great for you. And that I think you're going to have a different head spin. You'll probably be the cool kid in class. And I think personally, I think it. I think you're at a point where you're probably saying, yeah, I think I'm going to push. I'm just reading the leaves. I think you're going to push a little bit more. At the end of the first Lita, you were starting to do it. And I think there's a little confidence factor for you that I think you're like, I'm going to go in there and kind of maybe take some chances.
Sure.
And of course, meet people too. And I'm more than hopeful that when you come out of that, you'll be in the same. I think some people just take an extra little bit longer than others, but I was ready by that time. I can't do it again, but it's not a slam on Lita. It's just that it's time for me to move in another direction. And I'm happy. I met so many people. Hell, I don't give you guys enough time. If I meet too many more people, I won't have enough time to give to good people.
Right. And honestly, I mean, I bet you if you went back and asked Loria if she expects people to come back 6 times to Lita, maybe some people will say yes because of the people that they meet. But in general, I would hope that you would learn and move on and do what the whole thing's intended for, which is the growth in live streaming. So I'm not really sure what people's intentions are all the time, but all I know is they don't know what my intentions are, and my intentions are to be streaming. And so when you add up the hours of how much streaming I've been doing since April, I think it's more than a lot of people have been doing. And so I think that you learn that way by doing, and I've never had a confidence level. I never approached the streaming in the way I'm streaming any different with Lita or not, because I didn't start streaming till April 1st. The day that I started Lita was my first live stream that I started. And when you start doing more of them, you're going to change anyway, because you're going to learn how to flow and be better and make how mix in the comments with people and not put everything up on the screen like you would have in the beginning, and learn how to, delegate your time and thoughts amongst the people. And so John says, I didn't think I learned anything about streaming, but it sure changed the way I make videos now. It's now one take rather than 100 files to go through. And so that's great. That's great if you learn something, but nothing's changed for me at all. But I think, everybody's trajectory and their entry points are different. So when I went in, my entry point was, I'm fine in front of a camera, but it was nice a couple things that I picked up on it was having some consistency to play with my new equipment, because I just got in the camera and all that stuff. So for me, oh my God, that was such a great thing to have. Try something next day, try something next day, but you got to work it. You can't sit and just do the same thing every day. And doing the phone for a week up was very valuable. Yes.
And then I did, you got to take chances. And I decided, you know what, I got to be something different. Take chances, script something out, try to really do something that makes you uncomfortable. Those were good. Those were good things to play around with. So I think it was a good warm up thing for those people. If I had been doing things as long as
people, it was.
But for John, if I had been doing things as long as Ryan had been doing, I think I would have had a different perspective. It was perfect timing for me. And then, God, coming out with the people I met is, again, priceless. So, but I really think for me, if I go back in at where I'm at right now, I'm just going to think about what I'm not doing. I'm going to set back about 3 months. And I think that will taint my experience anyway. I just don't think there's enough for me to grow on at all the second time around. And then somebody here, they can go, oh, is that a diss? It's not a diss. And I would say Brian Paul, I think, will flourish in his path on this. But I hope he comes out, ready to run and leans on us for that help to say, hey, okay, I'm ready to put some wheels on. Maybe
it doesn't necessarily mean I'm not going to do my own content.
Of course, no, I would say the opposite.
Yeah. So like, I don't think it's, I mean, there's only so much time in the day, obviously, and we have families and we have some multiple commitments. But I don't see it as a limiting factor, and it's we'll see. If I don't put up damn cat. If I don't put up a single video in all of the August, we'll know that that it was a terrible idea. But if I can do a couple things, we'll see. And apparently, we're gonna have to do some videos on my cat and how she.
I think you should. I mean, but it is a commitment. I mean, and like all this stuff is a commitment. And that's why I can't even entertain it. And again, everybody's in a different part of their journey. And I certainly didn't mean to imply that you wouldn't do your own thing. I just meant that I get why you want to do it, because the people are great, the stories are great, and if you're at that place, I think it really flourished. There are people who've gone through the second time, for example, I've seen do very well. I see people go back 6 times. I think, I don't know if you really, if it's just you're just kind of spinning wheels. Yeah. And if they're happy, I don't care. It's not. I'm not judging.
Yeah, I mean, right. I think everybody has, and it's obvious. Everybody's got different motivations for what they want to use it for. And I would have never generally gotten into anything like that, because I'm just not the kind of person to join a group.
Right. That's your vibe. Right.
And I did it just for the heck of it, because I was like, hey, I'm going live for the first time on April 1st. And they're starting this thing on April 1st. And I was like, why am I going to do this if I'm going to start live streaming? Because then it's another thing that I have to find time for. And I rolled my eyes and I thought about it, but I said, maybe I'll learn something. And so there were some.
You did learn something, by the way. What you learned is that, okay, I could actually maybe let a few people in to this world that I feel like I can give support and get support and trust and actually be a viable, maybe even an asset to what I'm trying to do. So, I mean, but maybe, so for you, it was learning a little bit differently. It's just, it wasn't something you were seeking.
Right. Right. And plus on top of that, it's just that it's a rarity to find people with the same value systems that I feel comfortable with, you know, true. And I do not like a lot of people. And
ditto.
And I think that
well, I feel honored. Thanks for coming on, guys.
No, it's just, you know what it is. It's hard to find people that you can read, and what is in front of you is what they are. And I don't want to have to figure somebody out for 5 years to figure out what they are and what they hide. And I just I don't know. I think I'm not your average person about the way I look at a lot of things and the way I operate. And I think that's part of the reason why I think I'll be successful, because I'm not going to have, when I make a decision, it's a decision that John thinks is the best. And I don't care what you think. I don't care what the next person thinks. I don't care what the smartest person in the world thinks. I'm just telling you.
Oh, you don't care what I think.
Smartest person. How dare he be smart?
But here's the thing. I'll take all the information that was given and I make my own evaluation, and it might not be what that smartest person thinks or this other person thinks.
Well,
but
doesn't mean like for you, you know, the decision the smartest person makes may not be the best decision for you. So I completely
right.
John Ryan. I don't like a lot of people. Quote.
I don't like a lot of people.
2021.
And that's why, Aaron, you know, like finding, we found each other, and
that's awesome.
You know, we found like Tom Buck's stream and the people in there, and it's great because in live streaming and in the format that we're in, we will find people that we like because we're opening ourselves up to like this big giant thing called YouTube, and you're going to find a lot of slimy people, and you're going to find people along the way that are decent. And I'm happy to say that we found a few people that we like.
There were 500 at some point, nearly 500 people in Lita, and I tried to get into as many as I could. But at the end of the day, it's not them. In the end of the day, it's always our value systems matching up. We all have bias, or we all have just our energy is just what it is. It doesn't matter really. There's no right or wrong answer here, but I could only find, 10 people that really spoke to me. And then less really that are going to hang around, because some people are like, oh, let's be best friends. And then you never see him after 2 months. And so you're happy in this world to come out with 5 really amazing people that just feels good. Like I would chat with Polam offline, Brian, and of course John right away, and I just we realized right away, it was just like, oh, we really hit it off. And there were a couple other people, but yeah, I mean, it's really interesting because it's one of those things. I'm with John. I didn't learn anything. I did learn some things, I guess, about streaming because I was way behind where John was, but the people were really the benefit. And now it's time to move on. Get off my lawn.
Get off my lawn.
You should have started with, hey, Boomer's quote. John is get off my lawn, neighbor. Jeffrey's okay.
Aaron has my real number, but I do have a Google number. You want to know why I started it? I started it because when I hooked up to the Roadcaster, I was going to take a call in from the Roadcaster, and I was testing it. So I made a Google number, which they let you do for free. You can have one Google number, and I think that's where all my spam is coming from that I get on my phone. Also,
I think so. I don't get. I've had a Google number forever, and I don't really get much spam.
Really?
No, I get spam all the time.
I just started getting a lot of spam stuff like in the last month, especially.
You guys' browsing habits are in question.
No,
I shouldn't keep looking at those llama websites.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
but I don't know, but I do get a lot of spam lately, and the that's why I got a Google number actually. And what's funny is I didn't even remember that I had it, and then all of a sudden I got an email with that said I had a message this past week, which means that I've never gotten a message on there. So
no massage.
Yeah. Oh God, but so I don't know. That's about it, really. I think the best thing is if Lita does something for you, that's no reason for you not to join. But if I was going to go and do something, it would be to get something out of it and then move forward with it. I'm always about like learning something and then using that and moving forward. And if it's about live streaming, then I'm there and I'm doing it, and I'm going to keep on moving forward with that. I mean, I would say that there's not many people that came out of that Lita and has done as much, you can name a few, a handful, like the Steve Worthies and a couple others that are using a lot of production stuff and moving forward. I think Sammy's been using a lot of this stuff for years to begin with,
Well, he's done like 15 Litas.
He's
so
done quite a few.
be.
Well, I mean,
he's done a lot.
What if we took the idea and kind of flipped on the head? Instead of like, what do I get out of it? What can I give into it? Like with John, like with your knowledge, you could go into Lita and you could really shake things up and really help a lot of people. Now, are you going to learn anything out of it? Probably not. But and so I'm kind of thinking about it from almost a service, like
but that service is right here.
No, I know, but like that's a whole group of another 500 people that like maybe don't even know to look online. And I'm not saying go off like it.
The thing is, I'm not going to jump back there, right? Just to get people to come to my channel. That's not why I'm going to do it.
Right.
To me, that's not really comfortable, and I don't want to jump in there to do that. It just is not like my comfort zone. And to be honest with you, I didn't even finish my last thing that I left on my list here that we'd talk about, but is the thing I put is put your family in focus. And the thing is, if your time is already extended with everything you do and what I'm doing, one more thing is you think it would be easy, but it's not. And so I have to put my time in places that it's going to be worthy, because you go put your time into something and your family's falling apart, or you're not fulfilling your commitments in your life, then, it's not, you can't do it all. And I would love to help people. I would love to help them, but this is what my YouTube channel's about. And if people want to go seek it, they'll find it. And that's, I understand what he's saying. I
totally get it. And I can see the devil's advocate to that, because one is you can't self-promote on there anyway, but I don't think that's what Brian's saying. I think just doing it for the selfish act of doing it. But I have to also look at what John's saying. And that is such a time commitment that right now, as we're trying to build 2 days a week and then our own private stuff. And believe me, I respect the idea of saying, I don't have enough to give other people. If I start to do that, everything else around me is already kind of on edge. And I think there are a couple people maybe who go in there with that, but most people are going in there to get something out not to give. So I don't feel too bad about not being that person. However, I do think the world could use more people like that, that are selfless. And I think there are ways to do that. And there's maybe something, it might be a collaborative
what we're
thing.
doing right now is almost selfless. Like a lot of times when people come in here, we're doing a lot of help with people. And to be honest with you, it's totally sincere and we just roll with it. And wherever it gets us, it gets us. But
I also have to say with John, I just want to step back on one thing. I'm sorry to step on you, but
go ahead.
The other thing is, and I'm just like, I'm so glad I did Lita. I love what I got out of it. I wouldn't change one thing, but I will say this. I don't think it's going to be hard to find people and they're going to be affected by John's words. First, they have to find them. Second of all, I don't think a lot of people are going to use these tools when they get out. I think there was such a small percentage of people who actually even took what they learned and did something. And I don't mean it, that sounds negative, but I'm just saying, like, for the effort to put in, I think John would have to put that type of giving tree stuff probably out here to make it work, because I don't think he's going to really see the benefit.
Anyway, let me address one thing, because now that Mommy Lala said this, polarization is key. Otherwise you'll burn out. But she made a comment about her M50. And this was the thing that I wanted her to check. Overhead. When she did the overhead, when you use that, 22 millimeter, which acts as a full frame 35 millimeter, it's going to take you a lot closer to your table. And at that point, if you don't have the separation to go high enough to capture your table, this is why 3-hour streams are very strenuous, but it's like, you're going to have problems with being too close. And I think she was having that problem. And that's where the kit lens with the 16 millimeter is going to be more effective for your overhead. So that's why I say, try both and then see how you feel. I mean, there's no doubt that the 22 mil is a sharper picture, but it's not worth it if you're not capturing what you need to capture. So
that's a good point.
Yeah. I just want to let her know that, because
that's great.
It's got to be effective for what you're doing. And so one or the other has to be more effective. So that's all. I just wanted to get that.
Brian, I would say too, Brian, you should, like Ron, for example, who was another photographer who had done it. I think he came back a second time. I think you guys, because of your creativeness and your ability to understand lighting and camera in a real world sense, absolutely could have a major effect on that group of people. There's going to be so many people coming in there. They're so afraid to understand any of these settings, any of the lighting. And I think, like, you guys were such a benefit to me. So I really think that you can absolutely, and you can give to that. But don't short sell too your giving on how you create and things, because I think that is such an inspiration. I think you could be a really major inspiration for a lot of people on this second go around. And I think for you, that's part of this process. I get the feeling that that's part of all this journey for you and how it's going to all add up.
Yeah. So also, John says there's all walks of life there. It was pretty amazing to watch at times. It's nice to see people grow. I get you, but don't you care about you growing?
No.
So that's like, that's the thing I'm saying. Like, I get it. I love to watch people grow too, but it's more important that I'm going to grow from the things that I'm doing. So you can't, it's impossible to help everybody and be a part of everything that you want to be part of. So you pick and choose. And if I'm putting this much time and effort into what I'm doing right now, was it a joke? I mean, I'm putting tons of hours a week into this stuff.
Money too, and time, and just everything.
Yeah, there's a lot, and at a cost to family, to sometimes your own quality of life issues. And
if you got nothing else to do, God bless you.
Yeah. And I mean, I think because you're not in the throes of it, I think, like, this is a perfect time for Brian. August is coming on, do it. And not that you need my permission. I just think that it's going to work out really well for you. And I'm excited for that. I'm actually excited to see how this evolves for you personally.
It'll be interesting to see how it all shakes out.
It all depends. Sure. I feel what he wants to do, because he's got the capabilities to do it. You actually have people that you didn't have, and as support systems, and they, I mean, if we didn't think that you were a great person to have on and chill. And we're not sitting here, oh, we got to have Brian on because we're going to suck the life out of him about information, right? Well, but isn't that refreshing, right?
I always feel like I'm asking too much information of Brian.
It's just to have you on and have a good time. It's because trust me, I know how it feels. You know, when you're the guy that has the pickup truck in the family, that's not me.
Oh my God. I'm so glad I got reminded.
You know what I'm saying? There's every phone call is about what can I do to help someone else in my family or my friends out. So I'm the guy that may know about like computers and what do you think gets all the calls? And the thing is, you help out your family and that's fine. But at some point, it's a lot of work. And that's all I'm saying. I'm here and I want to put the effort into this. And I have goals in mind and I can't go and care about with another 500 people are in Lita. That's Loria's thing. That's her business, her growth. That's what she wants to do. And it's great for her, but this is time for me. This is me. Mm-hmm. So I'm here and I'm working what I have. Jeff is working what he has. We collaborate, we support each other, we lift each other up, and along the way, we carry whoever else wants to go for the ride and help them learn. But this is about the efforts that I'm putting through and like Jeff said, like I could just scrap all this and spend more time with my family.
Your family's watching this now. You're like, maybe just do one a week. Come on, John.
Could you imagine John goes and alert and the lead and does like one video a week and just make sure, Brian, because I do have just make sure you have enough time because I do have a llama recording project I need to do.
Hey, I'm definitely I'm not just like I'm gonna do Lita, but I'm not I'm not solo Lita, you know. I can do other things so as well.
No, you're a multitasker because you have to be because your life is predicated on it.
Yeah, if I wasn't doing this, like if I wasn't involved in what I'm doing, which is, you know, the channel, I just got my logos done. I'm working. I set up a spread shop.
You washed your underwear.
Yeah, I did. On top of it, right? So there's
that's a slow responding focus. You
got to cover your eyes.
Is that the problem?
There you go.
Can someone tell me why this sucks?
It doesn't.
Why, what sucks?
He's having problems with his cam link.
Yeah, my cam link sucks. Does anybody have any idea? Did I get a defective one? Is this not even a real cam link? Did I get like a
fake one out of Amazon?
Yeah, Amazon fake one on Amazon with like a knockoff cover or something.
I've heard it has happened, but I tell you what does is my cam link gets hot, and it's out of those times that I've used it, I did have it froze up twice. So
was yours getting hot, Brian?
Well, the cat was on it. I'm sure that didn't help, but yes.
That does not help when a cam link has a cat on it.
It doesn't say anything in the instructions about not having a cat sleep on it. So
people, this is as real as it gets. This is streaming. Your cat is on your cam link.
I think if you've learned anything tonight, it's get your cat off the cam link.
Cat off the cam link and use a dongle and hang.
Is that not a T-shirt?
Air surrounds it.
I solved it. Get your cat off the cam link.
So
yeah.
So I know. Listen, that's all. I'm just telling you from my personal perspectives, and I'm not here to judge anybody else's decisions. I just know that I'm ready.
Look, if Lori was sitting here, I don't know her, but I might get the impression she'd be like, yeah, then it's not for you. Then it's not for you.
Yeah,
right now. You don't need this. You're fine. Leave a spot open for somebody else who needs it. You know, I don't think that she would even bat an eyelash. Honestly,
no, she would not.
She gets it.
Yeah,
I don't smart woman.
I agree with you, and we should end that conversation right there.
Yeah, so let's just end it. I just really believe that's how it would be, and I think it's fun to talk about it, and that's cool. It's a great program, and I think if you want to get in, do it. If you want to do it 10 times. Do it. But I think, John, your honest answer, and I try to be honest too, that this is where I'm at. That's funny because we're all kind of in like a little different tier of where we are with the answer.
We're all a little different.
But it's a microcosm of this whole thing that we're doing, that everybody's a little bit part of a different journey, and yet we're all on the same boat.
I've had other streamers that are well ahead of me come and say to me, like, your studio's put together really great for a guy who's been streaming for 3 months, or you have a lot going on with your studio, or the way you come across, your mic sounds good. Your stuff sounds like you're operating things, your streams, it's not like a bunch of cluster going on with everything falling apart. And so these are great compliments from people that are much smarter than me, that have done many more streams than me. And so that's the stuff that I want to get. And if anyone was self-confident in themselves, they would come back to someone like me and say, hey, you know, of course you need to just move forward and push what you're doing. So, you know, and not hold yourself back. So that's the way. But Mommy Lala is saying that Lala is, it looked washed out. And Lala, that's like, you just got to make sure that if you're by any windows and you set things up the day before, and now it's like it's morning and you were testing at night, you got to do it at the time of when you're going to do your show. And sometimes that even changes. So like your white balance can change, or if you're in a studio, you got to go and just make sure you do all those adjustments beforehand. So you're going to like, you have to make adjustments. Like you don't want to go higher. I'm going to make a suggestion since you're so close. Don't try to go any higher than tops, I would say 400 or 640 with your ISO, and then keep it at the aperture 3.5 with the kit lens. So if you were using the 22 millimeter, that goes up to f2. So you were too wide open in your aperture, or your ISO was too high, and you got to have a happy adjustment there. And then also, unfortunately, and this is a pain point for people, is you got to spend a little time with your white balance maybe and try to get that down. And generally auto is good, but if you're having any change of light coming through, Brian could vouch for this, then it's going to be, you're going to see that change on the film. And sometimes it's just better to hit something where it's, you set it and it's damn close enough.
Everything John said exactly. And let me add like one other thing, is that a lot of times if your image looks washed out, it could be that you're having light hitting the lens. If you get a flare, it will take all the contrast out of the image. So take a look where your lights are. Make sure you don't have one aimed up. Also, if you're looking at an overhead cam, like John said, stop it down. Go to 5.6. Don't leave it all the way open. You don't need a shallow depth of field if you're shooting a top down.
Right.
Really, you want it all to be in focus.
Right.
So that's all I would add, is just look where your lights are. And then if you do have light spilling into your lens, you can get just like some cloth and put around it, or construction paper, or do what you actually, you know, use the hoods, what they're made for, which I still have never used a hood in my life, which is bizarre.
Mine's sitting at my desk, but
and it does take practice, because you got to use the same exact light that you would be using for the overhead. And so if the camera's pointing down, you might not have it spilling in, but if it's crossing over and how it hits. And
so many times people see those streamers talking about how to set their cameras, and it's always dump it down to 100 ISO, because generally we're in dark areas, but then when people go to use stuff, they don't really understand that is such a specific reason. And I'm glad that you guys touched on that. You don't need 100 for everything, you know, and especially a tabletop, you don't want it. Like you'd probably want a more of a 400 or 500, I would suspect, like you said.
Well, here's a counterpoint too. Maybe if you have a white piece of paper and you're drawing, that light is actually reflecting off the paper. In that case, instead of going with a wider lens, go with like a 50 and go higher.
Yeah, but I agree. I agree. Or she could just keep the lens she has, because she was too close, and she could back off higher. Yeah. But then it comes to the whole thing is like, now you're talking to somebody about setting a rig up. You know, it's got to be, it could be much more involved. So I would first try the 16 first. No, I get you, but you have to realize with that,
to go that high,
22, she's going to have to be about, if I had to take a guess, she's going to have to be about 4 feet off the table. And so that might not be feasible for her. And that's what I would go with, the 16. And what Brian's right. First of all, that kit lens is at its best 3.5. You stop it down like 1 or 2, it's like you're going to be at, 4.5 anyway. So if she was to hit 4.5 and then try something with the ISO around 400, you're going to have the width you want, you're going to have the light, and it's probably might work out better for you. So just it's, unfortunately, Lala, it's always just trial and error to see what works perfect.
One of those is going to work for her.
Yeah,
she'll diet in pretty quick, I think.
I'm sure like that's great advice and it will work. And
Aaron.
there are a lot of interesting ways to mount an overhead camera. And maybe that's something that we dive into down the way. But like I've seen people clamp it to a shelf, like you just install a shelf and you just clamp it to that. There's this really cool pole, and I can't think of what it's called, but it's like a shower curtain, like the holds your shower on. Only it goes like 22 feet. So like you basically put it between the two walls, and then you can clamp whatever you want to it.
Those are great.
We have poles that go in between, and you just drill them in. But these are all things that I would do, but maybe Lala it's not so easy by herself.
Yeah, for sure.
But here's the thing, like if just look at what I'm doing here is I have this whole thing off of this pole and it extends out. Here's my overhead camera that's right here. So there's different ways to do things, and you can see, and I'm just using a Logitech, and that gives you this look right here. And I'm a little bit white and light, and you could see things are changing a little bit, and I have the white balance off. That's crazy, but you have to make adjustments. It's not as clear as a camera, but it
gets the job done very well.
I think it looks great, John. Honestly, I don't like it. Looks real sharp. I can see everything. I think it looks like great. And when I'm looking at doing an overhead, I'm actually thinking about using my phone. Like it's you don't need the bigger sensors all the time. Like sometimes the right tool for the job is something small like that.
I found taking my thumbnails, my phone was just so much easier to just throw up and use, and it got the job done because you can do so much so easy in editing, and it's a thumbnail this big. So you have the luxury of knowing you're going to compress that thing about 1 million times. I just, I thought about, I'll put the good camera. I'm like, why am I making this so hard? Because I think it has to be a certain way. But John's inspired me because I've got like 5 HD cameras. I should just dump one over the top.
Whatever. Everywhere. Yeah.
Yeah. Definitely. I've got them all over the place. I have them for different areas on the kit that I want to use, but it's such a great thing. And that's a great idea. Great advice.
People stopping in. We got Tracy Scrap Stash. I love that name. And
they were doing Christmas in July when I checked in on them.
Absolutely. And she's like, oh, that's a thing in the Philippines. And I was like, it's a thing here.
It's a thing here. 24, it's 365 days here. If you want to go down the street here, they have Christmas everywhere. So Tracy's really talented. I really liked her Christmas stuff that she was working on.
Yeah. And I love that she stops in, and I check her stuff out too with Lala. And that's great. And also look who we have. Oh, I got another message.
It's Tracy again.
Hey, you're back again.
Hey, Patrick. He's on the West Coast.
Yeah, so he's over in Cali for the next month. And I think he left yesterday. And if you haven't noticed, he's pushed out a bunch of videos early, so this way he can probably enjoy his time out there. But he is saying he's going to do one live stream. And I'm looking forward to that. And listen, I know we've definitely went, I think, our longest, Jeff. We have to get going soon, but I want to say hi to these people who just stopped in.
Sure.
And
of course, it's the longest on your stream.
Only by a little, actually. So that's
I've gone over 3
I don't want to be so uneven, so I don't. Yeah.
I'm trying to give you the hours watched, man. That's all I'm trying to do.
Yeah. So she is.
I got to go hood, and then we'll just really be able to get the kids.
Well, then maybe next time put your phone on for my channel. All right. No.
Oh my God, you're so right, dude.
I was only kidding, but since you said
it's a good idea. What am I doing? What am I thinking? I'm crazy.
Thanks for staying up just for me to get on to say.
How did you know? How did you know, Patrick?
It's so funny because we said that earlier. We're like, we're gonna stay here until Patrick gets on the stream.
I remember that, and I'm like, no, I'm not staying here for Patrick. That's ridiculous. And then
now we're here.
Now we're here.
It was terrible. They kept going back and forth. I tried to referee, but
he did. It was ugly for a while. Yeah. Some things were sad, feelings were hurt, but we got through it. And we had therapy. We're good.
He's like, it's Patrick. Just let him come on and say hi.
I'm like, you blocked that guy.
Oh God, we had a good night overall, and I was super happy Brian could come on, and I thought it was a big surprise. I saw a big smile on Jeff's face, and I think Brian was surprised that I asked, and I thought it was just like, you know what? It was just, I don't know. It just popped into my head. You know what?
How did you guys hide that from me? I can't believe one of you didn't say.
Did you really? Yeah, so don't tell him. Don't tell him
Yeah.
because it's a surprise for Jeff too. And I
was
just
so
think
excited.
Brian and people like Patrick and people like Lala and John, that's like we did an interview with John. And, one day I'd like to have Aaron on too. And there's people here in this community. They put a lot of effort into our community. I did a live stream with Ash, and so it's just like, we need to include each other, and you can't do it all at once. I don't want to have 6 people on at one time, but I like including.
I like
people.
giving people their space, their attention, rather than giving too many people. And
Yes.
I like
Especially
that.
because some people have a lot of input with some good knowledge, and sometimes it's a waste to have so many people on that they can't give forth, right?
I would like to have you on my channel one time too, where we can, or here, where we can promote one of these two nights, where we can promote, really to ask some actual, like, hey, we're going to have a little camera corner. We're going to bring in a guy like you that has some really great information and real world application, and let's get into a little bit, see if we can get some questions.
Oh yeah. I mean, these are the kind of things that we can keep on going on with. Like, I think you might catch me tomorrow live streaming. I'm going to go over live how to go and do that with pulling the comments on into OBS. And I think we can do a little promptu thing. We could talk about cameras one day, or mics, or we have a million things to really talk about. That could even be just like extra, where we could just go on a weekend or a different night and do whatever.
Absolutely.
So, I mean, Jeff's I think is planning to do like a Notion day here or there.
I need Notion days. I didn't realize how much prep that was going to take right now, but
Got the motion for the notion.
yeah.
But
So,
I mean, whatever the case is, I'm thankful for you guys coming on, hang out a little bit. I'm just going to say goodbye to everybody real fast.
Yep.
And Brian,
Right.
let me say one thing is that I do want to commit myself to doing a weekly stream. I'm not saying it's gonna happen next week or whatever, but I'm making a commitment, a weekly stream coming soon to
Love it.
YouTube.
Wow.
You heard it here first.
I love that. This is how right now you just ended with a super positive thing. So I love to hear that from you. And here's the thing. I know you guys might have a hard time asking. I don't know how I can help, or maybe feedback. Always reach out. Like I'm willing to
babysit my cat.
I'm busy.
Where I draw the line. But let me say goodbye to everybody. Guys, thanks for coming out. I really appreciate the support you guys bring. Patrick, enjoy yourself out there. Take time for yourself. Spend time with your family. I appreciate jumping on here. You got your Aaron, you got John, you got Tracy from Scrap Stash, all the people who jumped in here earlier in the stream. Thank you for coming in. You all make the night and the stream so successful, and I appreciate that. So guys, take care. Mommy Lala, have a great night. And yes, we will all be accountable buddies for Brian. Absolutely. And we're happy to hear that announcement. That makes the end of the stream so awesome. So guys, have a great night, and I'll catch you on next week. And don't forget J.A. Smith's live stream on Tuesdays, 9 p.m. Eastern. And then come back and visit me over here, Coffee Talking Tech. We talk about stuff. So come back. We love you all. Have a good night. Take care.